My life, my life, my life in the sunshine. Everybody likes the sunshine. We all like the sunshine. Oh, get in the essence of the Argonite. To funk or not to funk? What's happening, Moray? What's happening, PJ? Well, my name is Eight Wind is Timeless. It all starts with a gentle sadness. I am the holder of the secret of the continuous ball game of the Hero Twins. I am your galactic daddy-o sitting on my galactic patio from Minnesota to the universe. I'd like to thank Champion, Macy's for the fine threads. I know I'm wearing the Adidas hat again, but I've had it on all day, so I'm going to continue wearing it. And we're still going with the Voodoo Ranger Golden IPE. I missed this part last night. So pop them if you got them, smoke them if you want them. Oh, I was listening to the brothers talk, so I wasn't paying attention to the time. Plus, we had to go outside and mess with this dog for a minute, so it's kind of late start. Anise, thank you for joining me. Very kind of you to join this old man on this Sunday. Well, I guess my first thing is like if you watch my video, so I get a text about 7:30, 6:30 maybe. My daughter's mother was like they're riding in Burnsville. I live very close to Burnsville. And I'm like, what? So I wait for the news, and the news comes on. I shot all six parts of my video on one newscast. So they supposedly, now I live off of Highway 13, technically. Highway 13 is like down in at the end of the block. Now this highway goes a good 10 miles, but it's down at the end of my block. I live off Highway 13. 35 is about 15 minutes drive, 10-minute drive. It's not that far. So apparently, dude carjacked somebody and tried to get away. That's why I was like applauding the people that's like, yeah, you can point that gun. I'll just go around you. And I guess they let him up. I was surprised they showed it was a European cat. But then I read the story this morning about them shooting supposedly at the National Guard. Supposedly shooting at the National Guard. Did you see how big a hole that was? What was he shooting at him to go through that tempered type of glass? Not quite bulletproof, but very near. I just had turned them fellas on, then see your notification. I had just turned. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was. They was had me cracking up, and I was kind of doing some stuff and wasn't paying attention to the time because we had to make a quick run. My son needed to go pick up some dog food, so we ran over and got some dog food and kind of came back. And so I was listening to him. You just got to listen to him. And so they had me cracking up. And I always give the brother support. I always give the support. Hey, Maddie. Like I watched both games today and just didn't really get into them. I couldn't even. I imagine that the Nets end up winning because I saw Garnett get hurt again. I saw that play. So not any new Marty. No, I don't have any new ones. Like not new since a couple days ago. New. What's up though? What's happening? All that is that's in the. You have to look up. You'll find them. Yeah, T Wolves is going to get the number one pick again. At least they should. At least they should. And they're saying all the games are kind of up in the air so far. They're always talking about trading towns. So, but it's like the news was one after another, just these events one after another, and then it was a shooting. I mean, I was like so amazed that all this just violence, one after another, violence in the area, just kind of cracked me up. And it was like within a 25 minutes of news, all these violent stories. Then they went back to the first snuff film. So I was like, interesting. So these are going to be some tough times this next couple of weeks here. They're going to deliberations tomorrow. So we're going to see where that leads to. They're bringing more people in. Did the short video, and one of I won't say her name, but you can look in the comments. She said that she at one of the hotels she already saw a bunch of them already checking in. So they're bringing troops in from other states because they already know they're going to be outmanned. All the years I watched basketball, I never knew that there was any manipulation. I saw your videos. When did that start? I always go back to it. It actually started in '69. Was probably the first time. At least that's what I caught in just studying basketball. It would have been the '68-'69 season with Don Nelson. And then the next season, you see the '69-'70 season, you see Jerry West heave one from half court. And then you go into '85 Georgetown versus Villanova. Villanova shoots 71%. That was probably the first national game that it was used. And then you want to look at the NBA, you can look at Steph Curry's whole college and pro career. But Danny Green, when he played for the Spurs, that's one of the times when you saw him being the difference in beating LeBron. You know all that was manipulated. So, yeah, it's been going on for a long time. It's funny, my son was asking me the best ball handlers of all time. And the best ball handlers of all time. Oh, wow. The best ball handler of all time, thank you, was he was saying that he thought it was Kyrie. But I like looking Earl Monroe. Look at Earl Monroe. Look at Tiny Archibald and somebody I met, Curly Neal. You have to consider all those. And then I'll throw one in there. It's Pearl Washington. If you want to see a dribble exhibition on beating the press by yourself, watch Pearl Washington. It would probably been an '82 or '83 season. Watch him beat the press on Georgetown. Pearl later pro career did drugs, but watch him when he beats Georgetown with the press. I mean, that is some of the best ball handling skill you'd ever see. What's good, A1 in chat? Hope everyone is doing well. Hey, Maurice, nice to see you. I think the reason for the bad NBA product nowadays is betting and greed. Too many options, live betting. When Jordan played, they only had a game, line, and over. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. It is. That's a good point. Walt Frazier wasn't as good as Earl Monroe. He wasn't as good as Earl Monroe. I mean, you can catch Earl Monroe just like I don't know. He could. You have to watch Earl Monroe. Now Clyde. Okay, I'll tell you the difference between Earl Monroe and Clyde. Catch Clyde putting the ball behind his back. He'll take a look at it and look down. Watch Earl. Earl's just this one motion. So Earl was a little better, I thought. Because I thought about that earlier. When I thought Earl Monroe, I also thought about Clyde. But I always saw that in this game, when he would go behind his back, he would slightly look down. Earl was just straight going to the hole. Hey, Antoine, thank you. Thank you for the kind words. So, Kyrie, it's a lot of people that could handle the ball, is my point. And then you could even go into Marcus Haynes, who Curly Neal emulated. You could even go into Marcus Haynes. And Marcus Haynes, if he would have been pressed, he would have been able to beat the press because he was doing that Curly Neal stuff in his 50s still. Good catch on the LeBron earbuds, too. Well, thank you. The thing that hit me with earbuds was the Smith not shooting the ball. You push Kevin Garnett out the way, you grab the rebounds, and you don't put it up to win. And then saying, I thought we was up. Pistol Pete, yeah, Pistol Pete, too. And where Pistol Pete was probably the best, yeah, I would put Pete up there, too. Because Pete could put it behind his back and not have to look. I've said before, a lot of ball handling drills you see today was his drills. Matter of fact, his drills were so on demand, it became a part of the pre-game ritual at LSU, where he would do all his ball handling that now are in almost every camp and every gym. So a lot of the ball handling training that people do now comes from Pete. Hardaway, yeah, Hardaway. I mean, Hardaway made the crossover famous. I don't know if it wasn't famous before then, but he was one player that he had that, because the crossover is just switching ways. That's all. But it was his first step. But I'll tell you, my cousin told me this. My cousin played at DePaul. He's the mayor in Benton Harbor, Michigan now. He said he played against Hardaway and Iverson, and he said Iverson was like a cyclone compared to everybody else. But yeah, Hardaway had that. And then the X shoes was the Hardaways. Is pound for pound the best player. Alvin Iverson is pound for pound the best player. I don't get a lot of argues for that. I still wouldn't put him over Wilt. Now, if you said, did he have a better skill set than Wilt? I tend to might agree with that. I would say if you looked at the best skill set of any player, given their size, I think Iverson would be there. But it would be hard in some ways to put Iverson over Earl Monroe in some ways. You got cats about them. Earl might have been slightly bigger. Earl might have been 6'1.5", 6'2". I met Earl a few times, and I'm trying to remember. It's been so long. How it seemed like Earl wasn't taller than me, but they'd be pretty close on quickness. I would say Earl would be there pretty close to Iverson, but Iverson is there. John Stockton, I don't like Stockton, so I don't put him there. I just don't like the way he played. He got away with a lot of holding, a lot of favoritism. I wouldn't put him there. NBA ratings is shit right now. Miller's perspective, yeah. That's why still the top two games are still the Sixers and the Lakers. The top two games are still both Sixers and Lakers game, with the top game being was it the right after Christmas game, or was it Christmas or something like that? I think that was the top one of the season. But yeah, they're getting real desperate in their programming. And then, they're doing the thing where they want to save everybody to the end of the season. That's kind of what, if you look at what they're doing. Have you seen Monopoly in baseball or football, like field goals? Oh, yeah, Maddie, all the time. And like when the Vikings lost in the cold and he missed that field goal, yeah. But you can see it. You can see when they push him out. You can see the reaction of players when they know. Kicker knows when he's made it. A kicker knows when he made it, and some of these reactions on the kicker's faces are like unbelievable. Remember when the Packers kicker, he missed every field goal or something like that and every extra point, but he won the one at the end. And then what was his name that played here? They got rid of his ass. The one that played here, they got rid of him. Bailey, I think was his name, that field goal kicker that cost them a couple games. Yeah, Bailey ain't going to be a Viking this year, as far as I know. Jason Williams was nice. Yeah, he was. Yeah. Baseball all the time. Baseball is the easiest one to fix just because of that. It's the easiest of all to fix. I've said before, if you watch Ken Burns' movie, it shows you baseball was fixed from the very beginning. The owners didn't like that the players was doing the fixing, so the owners made sure that they would be taking over from then on. So, and I'll say this interesting, just side note to that. I was reading somewhere where it was one park in where Pittsburgh Crawfords played, where a brother built this park, and it was one of the first parks in Pittsburgh to put lights up, and that's where the Crawfords lived, or excuse me, that's where the Crawfords played. See, I mean, Jackie Robinson, they didn't need Jackie Robinson. If they could have helped each other like that and built their own ballparks, they could have functioned well into the 60s and beyond. Jason Williams was nice, very nice. I would put, now, this is how I would put it. I was going to say with Pistol Pete. Pistol Pete was one of the best at doing the long passes, like doing the long bounce passes and stuff. I would say in that regard, Jason Williams was probably equal, in that regard. Pete was one of the best at like setting up guys from half court. And Magic, I think, later picked that up as well. But Pete, like as much as he scored, he always passed the ball too. But yeah, Williams was nice. You think they used juice bats? Yeah, well, I remember the year after Sosa and McGuire, because remember the thing that when Sosa and McGuire, that was the season after there was the shutdown or lockout or whatever they did to strike. And remember, they did not have a World Series, so people was like kind of fuck baseball. Hockey almost went by where people was like fuck hockey. I mean, when hockey went on strike, it took them a long time to really support hockey again. Baseball came up with the home runs. And then remember that next season, Sammy Sosa was banned for what, 20, 30 games? Because he broke a cork bat, which could have been on purpose, but he broke a corked bat. So remember that too. Wouldn't someone leak it? I've talked about this before. When you play sports, even when you play college sports, some of your connections are lifelong connections. So who would risk that? Say you don't play pro ball. Who's going to risk giving up these connections? I mean, just think about it. This is, in some way, you are a business because of your athletic ability. And through you doing business, it took you so far in sports, be it pro, semi-pro, whatever you went in. So that business doesn't end. And if you want to keep doing business, then you toe the line. As long as you toe the line, you see this abundance coming to you. So that's why. That's why no one brings it up. Isaiah Thomas, it's interesting on the Chicago guys. I want to say Tim Hardaway falls into that. I felt at times he dribbled too much. Like there's one move where he dribbles all up and down one side, and then he turns back and he makes the shot, but it's like Chicago guys tend to want to just dribble too much. It's kind of like Carmelo. The way they would dribble is be like ball stop and dribble and just taking all day to make their move. But that move with Isaiah is perfect. Watch him as a rookie. He's just up and down one side and then finally shoots it. And it's like you're not making every move to attack. It's just like dribble, 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 dribble. I'm not saying he didn't have good ball handling skills because he did. Most Chicago cats did have ball handling skills, but it was, I don't know, little too much for us. A unique breed. I like Isaiah, though. All players not in on it. A lot of them don't even know what's going on. Well, Rico, all players don't have to be in on it. If you're sitting on the bench, you're not going to be in on it. But if you play and it call for it, like, what did we see? What's his name that just is with the Nets that played with the Lakers? When he made that stupid ass foul that put Tatum on I made a video on that. That guy, he's from LA. Can't think of his name, but he fouls on purpose. So if you are on the roster, you know what's going on. I'm gonna broadly say that. You know what's going on. If you played major college basketball, you've played in part of the fix. Let's talk about the last real Final Four that was here in Minneapolis. And that guy's all up against the dude from Virginia, put him on the line for 3 to win the game. That was fixed. because I've showed plenty of videos showing that. Oh, I didn't foul him. I didn't foul him, but you were putting your body against him. I got a guy Cap doing that to people. So they all are in on it. So yes, there are some low people in college that didn't play, but when you get into the pros, everybody knows the script. So if somebody gets hurt and you have to fill in for the script, you know the script. That is where earbuds comes in too. Isn't dead for all that snitching he did. Him and his brother. Remember, his brother played as well, but he got shamed. Can't forget Rafer Alston, Booger Alston. Yeah. Oh no, Booger was another dude. Rafer was the other guy. Golf has you can order the balls from golf. You can order the remote control balls from golf. Anybody can get them. It's the not get lost balls, they call them. But that's hard guards. James Harden's ball handling skills are underrated for a bigger dude. He's 6'5". Yeah, Towns. Syracuse didn't miss against West Virginia. Graham Kane didn't miss against Iowa, and they play slow. There you go. Yeah, Towns is a clown. Intentional foul Towns. That's a good name. We're going to have to call him that. Intentional foul Towns. You think all of them do? Once you get on the roster, you know. Now, you know. Matter of fact, the scouting goes with the clowning like the Globetrotters. Like the Globetrotters, they just know they're going to win every night, and the Generals know just to make it look good enough. Because remember, when Globetrotters play the Generals, the games be like 110 to 130. I mean, it was one guy played the Generals, he was averaging like 50 points a game. And he was losing every night, but he was averaging like 50 points a game for like 60 games. He was averaging like 50. But they was losing every night. I can't remember that cat's name. Rod was nice. Strickland was nice. Strickland was a New York cat. A lot of New York cats dribble too much too. But Strickland was nice. But Strickland still doesn't get forgiven for in the playoffs when the money's on the line. Rodman is playing with him in San Antonio. And you just got to give it to Rodman so Rodman can give it to David Robertson. And Strickland goes, dribbles, turns his back to his offense, and throws it behind his head out of bounds. Y'all remember that game? That was Strickland. Turned his back to his offense, and he thought like somebody was cutting. And that cost him a playoff game. But he was nice. Brown probably rehearsing final scripts while he injured. Yeah, so is Davis. I mean, we got a big egghead person. And again, it's all about the NBA took that hit to get all these European players in there. So they let San Antonio win with the European players. That was all agenda driven to make people to put butts in the seats to bring more of them over because they weren't that great. That Danny Green, when LeBron had him, and then Danny Green is the difference. That's ridiculous. Kenny Anderson, I don't know. I never really thought he was that strong. Van Exel, I thought was stronger. Anderson, he was okay pro. Better college player, better high school player, actually. Curry changed the NBA to unrealistic play style in today's game. Well, Brandon, that's it. They're trying to get rid of the big dudes. Look at these big dudes put out the game. What is Detroit had the two big dudes and one he's bounced around. Now the Lakers got the one big fella. We got one Aldridge just retired, which get down. So, hey, Necessary Evil, thank you for joining me. Marbury, I've been talking we were talking the other day. Marbury got the red card. Marbury is part of basically the Communist Party of China. He is a Chinese citizen. He has dual citizenship, and he got for bringing the top league over to China. Now, I haven't seen where Nike, they've made love, that the NBA and Nike is getting, or the China and Nike and the NBA is getting along again. But that was his role. Now, as far as him as a player, his ego stopped him from playing on a good team. Because he had a team when he was here with Garnett. And I want to say that Ryder was here then too. He had a pretty decent team here. and he cried because he didn't get the loot, and he didn't deserve more loot than Garnett. But he was a guy that was pampered. I would even dare say he probably came out too early. It would have benefited him from playing another year of college. His body would have had a chance to develop. He would have been a more consistent, confident scorer. And he was a guy that came out. Starks, I don't know about his ball handling skill. Good guard, but not the great ball handling skill. But a tough player, definitely. Ain't necessary evil. Thank you. Big dudes shoot threes, all 3-point baskets now. They do. And Lopez is a prime example. Before last year, the year before last year, or let me get it right. The year before the bubble year. So like 3 years ago, the year before the bubble year, this cat shot something like 3 to 10, 13, something like that. And then the following year before the bubble year, this cat shooting 300 threes. Who does that without a script? Somebody had to encourage him to shoot more threes. So, yeah. Because again, it's taking the game away from the middle. It's taking the mid-range game away. And it's just not believable. As a product, it's not believable. All these fake fouls, fouling 3-point shooters is not believable. And it makes it look like a sloppy product. It makes it look worse than the Globetrotters. When you have dudes fouling at the end on purpose, it makes you look worse than the Globetrotters. And that's why I'm glad to see these ratings taking hits. You got shows like Charm beating LeBron. You got some weak shows beating these games where people are watching these other things instead of watching your NBA product because people are looking at this script as not believable. I mean, you know what? The NBA is like watching the Globetrotters every other night. That's what the NBA has turned into. And after a while, you get tired of watching the Globetrotters because you already know the script. Like, how many times can you watch the script before, you're like, yeah, they're about to throw the confetti water right now. That's how your fouling on 3 points on purpose looks. It looks like we getting ready for the confetti. Where your food, do you think it's the water or it's the confetti to the fan, but the player get hit with the water. That's how we look at your 3 points that win games. They're your 3 points where you foul a person and put him on the line. Steph had a 4-point play yesterday. So that's how we look at you, NBA. And I'm glad the fans is looking at your weak shit. Again, wrestling says it's fixed. People still bet on wrestling. But wrestling has never been popular. So my thing is tell that these other sports are fixed. You had baseball trying to lie and say just one team was fixing games when you have a whole league that fixes games. But see, that takes it off. Oh, it was just that team, not all of us. All of us. Marbury, like a god in China, little niggas love him. Well, they gave him a museum. They gave Marbury a museum. What do you think about raising the basket up to 12 feet to make dunking harder or pushing the 3-point? Hey, Moray, let me tell you, they did that before. In Chicago, they put the rims up to 11 foot. And I could still dunk on 11-foot rim. In Chicago, they, like a lot of the outdoor hoops, was 11 foot. And you talking about some dudes still being able to shoot, still being able to dunk. Yeah, it wasn't a big problem for a lot of people. But my cousin stayed in Chicago. We would always go hoop. And that was something seeing the outdoor hoops. Because most of the country, like if you played fight or 21, whatever you called it, in Chicago, they played 44. So you had to score 44 points to win. So you had a 11-foot rim and you played the 44. When you played fight, you played the 44. You didn't play the 21. And you had to take the ball back in Chicago. So you got to score 40 points to win, not just 21. I always loved that kind because I could go. But yeah, James, it's so weak. It is a bad product, Rico. You're right. Hakeem Dream Shake was crazy to watch as a kid for me. Oh, very smooth, very smooth. Whoever worked with him, because again, he came here, he wasn't that polished. And the people that worked with him in high school and worked with him in Houston really developed him. And that's where it helped him playing. I think he played 2 or 3 years in college there, and they've developed him. I was wondering why did they did that to Houston after winning the World Series. Yeah, that was it. That was why. It was a shaming for one, but baseball is so fixed that they just want to point it in one direction when it's all directions. Who do you think better, Dame or Curry? I would say Curry has a better. Well, let me say, because Curry is a. Did y'all see that? Was it yesterday, last night, where he was dribbling his left side and he just dribbled the ball out of bounds? He just like missed the dribble. Curry is like, he averages something like 5 or 6 turnovers a game, and he's supposed to be a 1-1-2. So ball handling wise, Dame is better. Dame benefits just as much though from basket manipulation. And Dame probably didn't have basket manipulation in college where Curry did. So I look at Dame's college career is better because he probably didn't get basket manipulation until he got to pros. Dame went to some small college. So it was a harder path, but Dame benefits off of basket manipulation. So I would say Dame was probably a better player because he had a harder time to get where he's at, even though they both benefit from the system. That's why Chi-Town always had the best ballers. Yeah, it was fun though to me, scoring 44. But everybody playing fight. I played a fight game where wasn't no take back, and it'd be like 16 dudes playing fight. And that was up my month. That was me, where if you give me 6 tips, that's 12 points. I win the rest from the free throw. And you shoot at the key. I used to stop at this little town called damn, what was it called? I can't even think of the name of it. No. I can't even think of this little town's name. But I would stop there because I saw they had a hoop and I would just work out. And I saw dudes was coming. So I started playing with them. And I would like get 6 tips and just kill them from the free throw line. Because like every time I hit a tip, I hit 2 or 3. And it was just killing them because they didn't play take it back. So take it back, if it's off, I'm like in position. I'm just pushing my way. I'm in under the basket every time. No one was strong enough to push me away. And so I used to love those kind of games. But yeah, Chicago made you play. But the dunk on 11-foot rim show if you really got hops too. Oh yeah. Yes, Sovereign Queen, and welcome tonight. Yeah, everything on TV is for entertainment purposes only. Absolutely. I watched the Cubs game today. This dude blasted one into the houses. He blasted one into the house yard out the stadium. And they had this dude like 6-0 in the first inning, and they didn't take him out. Now, normally you give up 2 home runs in the first inning, they sit your ass down. They did not sit his ass down. I think he was accredited with 8 freaking runs. 8 runs. He gave up 8 runs. It was 6-0 in the beginning of the first inning, the bottom of the first. Dame from where I'm from, okay, normalized. Curry had hand-eye coordination is something else. Boxing is so fixed. I didn't even see the YouTube fight. Somebody asked me about it. I don't know, Woke. Is his hand-eye coordination? Maybe. Ben took a dive on purpose. Soap. Oh, okay. You saying okay in the boxing. Hope they don't make Floyd versus Logan. It's gonna be it's gonna be an exhibition if they do. People think YouTube's fighters fixed. Like that's be watching YouTubes are not fixed. Yeah, they're fixed. That Nate Robertson, if you look at it again, Nate didn't get hit hard. It looked good, but if you looked at Nate Robertson when he supposedly got knocked out, look again. He ain't get hit like that. Nate just kind of fell. So that Braves game was so rigged, I was laughing like a mug. But it was the Cubs. Yeah, the Cubs and the Braves, exactly. Cubs and the Braves on ESPN. And I'm like, you keeping him in and you let them hit. It was 4 different dudes homered. 4 different dudes homered in the first inning. They didn't take him out. In the 5th inning, he was still in. I'm like, this is some bullshit. I started watching some other shit. USC is fixed too. USC is fixed, but it's more entertaining. In some ways, it's more entertaining. Like the late fight that was 5 rounds, the fight that was before that where the brother had knocked everybody out and they put him in there with a grappler, and he did not know how to get away from the grappler. It was like he'd never watched this cat fight, and it's like if you're mostly a striker, keep him off you. Keep him off you. Like when the heavyweights fought, the other heavyweight tried to grapple with dude, and dude just had a move where he would just forearm you in the head every time, back the grappler off him. But I think these dudes was lightweights or middleweights, And the brother, he had nothing. He had nothing. It was like had to be 3-0. He won that easy because the ground game was all he had. And then by the third round, when he finally was figured out how to get on, be on his feet, he was too tired to do anything. But it's like you put your guys in here, you gotta have you guys ready to know that this dude just got a ground game. Plus, one dude was 25, the other was 36. Do you think the NBA superstars involved in witchcraft? Wow, let me see. Betting lines plus crooked judges. Yeah. Do you think involved in witchcraft? Not overall. I would say that would be less. That would be probably more. I don't see the witchcraft in NBA. Well, I'll say it like this. Jerry Buss was probably a type of handler, wizards. And so in basketball, you see the handlers more often and clear. I'll say that. So from that perspective, if you use the Crowley kind of occult, and I'll say more occultism than witchcraft, I would say the NBA is just as active in occultism compared to witchcraft. Occultism, yes. Witchcraft, maybe not so much, but occultism, absolutely. Absolutely. Magic is a prime example of that. He was Jerry Buss was his handler, and Magic was known in Hollywood to do it to anybody. I mean, literally anybody that he could stay up, man, woman, whatever. That was what Magic was known for. And that's why Magic was so easy to pick out, saying, you take this L, we'll make you a billionaire. That's why Magic was so easy to do that role of humiliation. Well, we take you out of half a season, then you can come back, and then Karl Malone and Price can talk shit. But you can play on the dream team. We'll let you win. Now, remember when Magic played in that All-Star team or the All-Star game, and he hit all those threes? You don't think those was basket manipulated? Remember, Magic got the MVP after not playing, and the people voted him in? Remember that All-Star game? People voted Magic still in. And Magic all of a sudden is hitting threes like crazy. Everybody's guarding him. Michael Jordan's guarding him in his face for a three. Magic's or Isaiah's guarding him in his face for a three. Remember that? Magic went on a roll of 3 threes in a row. All manipulated. So I would say more occult. We need someone to get drafted in the NBA and expose all the shit. OG, any chance a team can rookie you? What is that like? We need someone to get drafted to the NBA and expose all this. Any chance a team can a rookie at the one? Any chance a team can? You gotta re-put that. You got me mixed up. Jeremy Lin was Melo was injured back in 11 or 12 was interesting. Yeah, they pushed the energy of Lin, but that was the same. That was the opposite of Marbury. Lin was the opening from Marbury. You had Marbury in China. Lin was the equal to him in America to start getting this interest because what was his name? The big player that played for Houston. Remember, same thing with most 7-foot dudes. Them dudes be having them foot problems. I mean, he played a couple decent seasons. Remember, they never won a playoff series. Him and McGrady playing, even though they had great seasons. Was a lie, and it's sad people think he had it. Yeah. Lin was Melo. He reminds me of Magic. Who y'all got tomorrow? Sixers or Warriors? I want to see how the ratings is going to do. That's what I want to see. When you think Jordan made all those threes against the Blazers, that was absolutely. That was absolutely. That's why he did like this. He wasn't really. Again, if you want to compare the difference between Len Bias and Jordan, the difference would have been Len Bias would have went in the league a natural, good jump shooter. Michael Jordan really didn't. Michael Jordan's shot didn't change until he copied Kyle Macy's shot. The Jordan kick you later saw, that was Kyle Macy's shot. Look at how Jordan shot the game-winning shot at Georgetown. His feet aren't together. I mean, he wasn't, and even the way he released the ball. Like, look at that shot at Georgetown. He didn't even have a smooth release. Watch it on his fingertips. His release is not even smooth. And he copied Kyle Macy's shot. And worked on it, but yeah, those shots against and that championship was all manipulated. That's why he did like this. He's like, damn, he was even shocked, but that system was on par then. Humiliation ritual for him. Yeah, humiliation ritual for him and his foo-foo son. Sixers. So yeah, that was all made up stuff. Because he wasn't a great shooter. But you look at that Ralph Sampson shot. They put the Lakers out. And that shot was very questionable where Ralph just turned and threw it. And last night with Curry, I talked about this last night. That shit, he just threw that shit like sideways and it went in. I mean, it's like they don't even try to hide the manipulation because Curry he got fouled, throw it in. And it's like, how is it when you get people off their feet and the shooter goes into people? That's not a foul. That's an offensive foul. You're doing contact, but they're going to keep that in the game. Again, it helps the scorers. And there's players that do it. Oh, we didn't know. You didn't know that Lou Williams pump fakes every time he gets it. Like these guys don't watch films. Like they don't watch films of these players. Lou Williams gets the ball, he gonna try to pump fake you. That's Lou Williams' game. He's gonna try to pump fake you. So they act like nobody watches films. Brother better than MJ without manipulation. Brian better than MJ without manipulation. Brown, well, just overall, LeBron is a better rebounder, better assist maker. Now, LeBron really is more of a assist person closer to Magic. So you really have to look at LeBron being almost because Magic's 6'9", so LeBron was more like Magic. And LeBron always looked at his setting up his teammates compared to Jordan, never really had to defer. Jordan really never had an equal as Kareem. Now, you can say when Kareem stepped down, he had Worthy. Worthy was never the defensive player Scottie Pippen was, so Pippen would get that turn. But as far as a scorer and rebounder, Worthy might have been a little better scorer than Pippen. So that would have been Magic's, kind of if you look at both people who had help. But for the Magic's 5 championships, he had Kareem. So you took the mentality of Magic and you had that with LeBron. LeBron really looked to set people up. Not that he couldn't score, but he really liked setting people up. And so different type of where you had one dude his first 4 or 5 years, he had nobody. So he had to score. And then the league loved for him to dunk and score. You understand how the script plays out. With LeBron's skill set, it didn't really call for him to score like that. And we know the terrible way he played against Dallas. I mean, they ever show that shit? You guys ever see that shit full game? Somebody make a video of that bullshit when LeBron played against Dallas and how all of a sudden he's like 7, 8 turnovers. It's just not believable. Which part? So you believe? I don't believe in anything. Back injury a few years ago was a fake. Dick Gregory said they made him act at back injury out of TV because he got something with an underage girl in Australia. I never heard that. And I really don't listen to Mr. Huh. But I think Tiger was beat by professionals. I think that wife thing, Tiger was beat by professionals. And it appeared like they beat him so bad that he started having problems that never went away. That's what it appeared. Now, that could be true. I don't know. What's the most rigged game you've ever watched? The Tuck Rule. The most rigged game still was the Tuck Rule. And the Super Bowl where the Falcons lost a 25-point lead when they were about to kick the game-winning a field goal, they would put it out of reach. So what really happened with this Kobe death, man? I seen a commercial Kobe did. Yeah, that was old. Yep, he died at 41. Could be ritual. That's what it looks like. Jordan, the best player. LeBron can't even shoot a free throw with manipulation. Yeah, he's never been a good free throw shooter or that good a shooter. But I think Tiger was worked over by professionals. Now that could be with Australia. I don't know. Why didn't he just go to Taiwan? That seems to be acceptable. Hey, Trill, thank you. How are you? Best player to me is Russell. I don't know. Like in 1959, right? 1959, the first time that Russell met Chamberlain, Chamberlain drops 59 on him, like just destroyed him. And Chamberlain didn't play on as good of teams, as rounded of teams. And they made Chamberlain the bad guy. They gave him 2 titles. They robbed him out of another one to give Bill Russell his last one. Greatest winner, though, greatest champion of all time, no doubt. But you have to throw in there Sam and Casey Jones. Both of them got 8 titles. You have to look at them as well because would he have played as well without them? He had Cousy. Shit, he had not Don Nelson. He had the one that just died, Tommy Henson. Tommy Henson, I believe, was Rookie of the Year in the Hall of Fame. So look up how many people played with Wilt in the Hall of Fame. Let's look up his Philadelphia team. The only other Hall of Fame player he had is Harold Greer. Maybe Billy Cunningham. But Billy Cunningham was younger. But Harold Greer, okay, that's it. Not a bunch of great Hall of Famers, but I think Billy Cunningham made it as a player as well. I'm not sure. He played NBA and ABA. But compared to almost all starting 5 that Russell played with are all in the Hall of Fame. Wilt never had that. I don't even think Chet Walker, who's from Michigan, from Ben Harbor, I don't even think Chet Walker's in the Hall of Fame. I could be wrong. But Wilt never had a full Hall of Fame team. Bill did almost his whole career. Almost. Oh, another fake season was 74. When, Kareem throws one of the most money hooks to beat Boston, and then they come back and lose to Boston, and Boston got a center that's 6'8". Collins. What was his name? Collins. Not Doug Collins, but it was another Collins. Dave Collins, I think, was his name. That was quite fixed as well. And the Bill Walton losing, the thing that put me on this path, I've said many times, was the Sixers, the first year after the merger, the ABA-NBA merger, and Dr. J makes it all the way, and then damn Blazers make it all the way. They blow them out the first 2 games and then lose 4 games. That made me see the league as you could see the league was fixed. Because there was just no way they played that bad 4 games in a row to that team. And then, you watch the highlights. Well, the Blazers were a great team. And they'll say, well, this team was a bunch of great individuals. Match them up. And there was just no way. And then they get Daryl Dawkins kicked out by a player that wasn't going to score anyway, that was known as a thug in the ABA. And so that hurt him when Dawkins got kicked out for the next game. The rest of that game and the next game, I think. So it was all kind of shenanigans. Tom Brady has the most rigged games in his career from start to finish. It really is. Need to find that tape. Videotape. You think Edelman should be a Hall of Famer? No, he's never made All-Pro. Murray, supposedly there's a clip out there of some regular guys playing pickup against the Dream Team and they beat them. Have you heard about it? There's a clip out there of some regular guys playing pickup against the Dream Team and they beat them. Never heard about that. Plus, I don't believe they would have played outside anywhere. So, no, Edelman never made All-Pro. So you think he should be in the Hall of Fame just because of the playoff experience playing with Brady? But he never made All-Pro. Not one time was he All-Pro. Now I think he played in Pro Bowls because, if you got injured people or you're, backup in the Pro Bowl, you can get that, but not All-Pro. He never made All-Pro. Need to find that tape. Tom Brady, yeah, he had his whole career was scripted. He wasn't even a starter in college, and then they made this cat, Mr. Motherfucker. Super was the worst rigged. LeBron with the Heat in Game 6 versus the Celtics. Look on his face before the game started. I mean, he thought he was possessed. Interesting, Maurice. I realized it was fixed when the 13-3 Seahawks lost to 11 Steelers in the Super Bowl to send Jerome Bettis off in the sunset. Yeah, and remember James Harrison's interception. They about to go in there. No, that was the Seahawks. Okay, that was the one before. Yeah, that was the one before. Okay, not with Pittsburgh. Not Pittsburgh and the Seahawks in Pittsburgh. Yeah, I'm thinking of the different team. But yeah, they set it up to scripts now. Yeah, well, it's a little egghead man in there, and they're looking at ratings and what they're putting in their computer. They're looking to see which games is gonna. What they do is they go into the computers and they do the simulations and they put the stats of the players in there. Now that was a toy. You could get this toy years and years ago. So this can be done because there was toys that did it. But you could put in the scripts, the stats of all the players, and then they run these simulations. And now they run them, like these video games. They run them like these video games, and they look at which script would have the biggest ratings to win that night. And that's why the earbuds are necessary. And believe me, the end of each quarter scores, that's a thing too. I mean, how many NBA games we see where in the past teams have fought other teams because you don't score at the end of the game. But I showed I think it was on my other channel before they took it down, where the Timberwolves, this is the end of the game, and the dude just from the Timberwolves just throws up a three and hits it. And I mean from damn near half court. It was like if that wasn't for point spread, why would he shoot it like that? It's just like he needed to be on the books that bad, so he had to throw it up there. Don't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Peyton Manning, they gave him another ring. Yeah, but see, remember, Manning gave a game to New Orleans by throwing that pick six. They hadn't stopped Manning all day, and he just throws a pick six for the money. And then the one he won, let's be honest, that again, that game was turned because they called a critical first down back, which was probably part of the script, and then Cam does a pick fumble on the next play. But that Manning, this fucker couldn't throw. They had to sit him down for a bunch of games to save him for the end of the year. So he looked like something. But this dude had a weak arm his whole life. And if you believe them 2 Super Bowls and the helmet catch, so where do you think the magnet was with the helmet catch? Wasn't in the gloves, it was in the helmet. You think he just, the best kind of trick catch I ever did is I caught a ball on my forearm like this. And I wore sweatbands up to here, and I wore elbow pads because I played flanker and would have to block. So I wore sweatbands up to here. Right? They were tapered like this, and they were just long. But I caught a ball like this on my arm. My arm got turned around, dude grabbed me, and I did catch it like this. I had a catch where I put my fingers on the ground, and the ball landed in my hands before it hit the ground like this. I dived on the ground. The ball had no choice but to go in my fingertips, and I caught it. And the ref was standing like 3 or 4 feet away from me, and he did like this. He was shaking his head, and I'm like looking at him like, what do you mean? But I caught the ball. And the ref called me, and he's standing right there and sees me catch the ball. He was the same one that should have given me a touchdown. He called out of bounds, but they would have made the Nets win considering they was the favorites. They think Big Ben one more ring. I don't know. The Big Ben has so much. When he has so much bad press, I think they'll be happy to get rid of him. And remember, they ran that fucker over after he won his first Super Bowl. They ran that motherfucker over in the motorcycle. Remember that? Why would they make the Nets win considering they're the favorites? Nets ain't gonna win. They're not going to give Hardy the championship. I would almost put money on that. I would almost go straight up that they are not going to let Hardy win a championship. And they're already making Irving the bad weirdo. He's not just the bad guy, he's the bad weirdo. Cam Newton dominated every team, blew out only scored 10 points. That's right. Calvin Johnson had the craziest catch I've ever seen. And remember how they did him, putting that rule in that you're supposed to control it to the ground, but he went up and caught it with one hand. He catches the ball with one hand, and then just as he lands, the ball lands side down, but he had already caught it and established control. And then he just caught himself down with the ball, and then they caught it back. And that's the bullshit they be doing. Woke Warriors were favorites 3 years, bro. Yeah, they were the favorites 3 years. Good point about Harden. KD don't seem right to me. I've said this last night, too. Dudes are 7 foot. They have a hard time coming back from Achilles. Matter of fact, this almost the last really big dude I think that came back from Achilles was Dominique. And Dominique was still fairly old. But Dominique was only 6'7", 6'8". He ain't 7 foot. And 7-footers, I don't think one has ever come back. Look at the big fella that they just gave another 10-day contract. That dude ain't near the same. I mean, that dude was at one time. That cat there was Joker before Joker came, but a better scorer, more active, could get by you with the dribble. But he ain't that dude no more. I don't know, Soap. It doesn't appear like they're going to let him win. They gave him them MVPs and them scoring titles, and that seems to be how they do certain players. They'll give you the scoring titles. They'll let you be MVPs. Look at what they did to the Greek dude, the African Greek dude. You see, I don't think they're going to let him get a title. But I don't think they're going to let Harden get a title. That's my thinking. I just don't see them giving Harden the title. That's not how they usually work. Lakers won't make it. I still think the Lakers is right now in the 5th seed. I think if they get in, they're going to win it because the ratings point to Lakers Sixers. That's what the ratings point to. Lakers 3-peat is set in stone. Just who's against it? Yeah, that's could be a good point, Brandon. The Nets have too many feminine energies. Yeah, Russell too. Russell won't get a title. Might be Lakers versus Celtics in the finals, being back at the old rivalry of the ratings. But that would cut out the Wilt ritual that I see. That would cut out Wilt. And I'm looking at Wilt. Curry just passed Wilt for the all-time scorer for the Sixers, or excuse me, for the Warriors. But Wilt also played with the Sixers and the Lakers. It appears like that's the ritual they're pushing. Could be, again, Boston and the Lakers, that's kept the league glued. From the 60s to the 70s, Boston and the Lakers kept the league glued. They kept the league glued together. Because you're talking about when Wilt and Russell played, what was it, 10 teams, 11 teams, something like that? Wasn't that many. So that's a possibility. Yesterday, what did I see the ratings? Yesterday's game was pretty well. The ratings were pretty decent for Boston. Comparing them, actually, yes. So comparing yesterday's ratings with Boston, comparing it to their previous game was even a gain. So could be they're comparing it for that. I would see that. Nets have Joe Harris as a player, number 12, and Biden. Career Hells watch Nets take it all. Yeah, Kane, I saw that Harris score, but yeah, they're I don't think so. I just don't. Last year, Kobe death was for Dodgers and the Lakers, not for the 3-peat. Good point. It's the reason why KD switched his number to 7. Could be. But I just don't see it. I don't see them saying that Durant is going to be. I mean, Durant just took a knee to his thigh, and he's done. that there's something wrong there. You're getting kneed in your thighs all the time. So there's something wrong there. You can't. Adrian, what's happening? 56 number of the year. LeBron gets another one, 5 and 6, with Zach and Arthur are saying. Interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Remember, Kobe mentioned Jason Tatum, that Kobe ritual still playing out. Yes, Tatum worked out with Kobe one summer, I do believe, when Kobe was rehabbing. This is how they kept Kobe playing because, and I still think he's Josh Okogie. I think his consciousness has switched to Okogie. But besides that, they paid Kobe money when Kobe had nothing. They was giving him what, $40 million when he had nothing? I think he got $40 million one year when he had nothing. Why do you think that is? Is because he was still putting butts in the seats. And that's why he played so long. That's why it didn't matter all them injuries. When they talked to Stern before Stern died, or whenever Silverman took, they was like, Kobe, you can play long as you want because you still put butts in the seats. And that's what it's all about. That is why you see the invasion of all the European players. That's what they was hoping. Butts in the seats. I'm talking about the name he has, Joe Harrison. Yeah, exactly. I know. I felt that. I knew what you was talking about. That he had the same name. No, I got that. Boston Lakers stay at 17. Freemason started the year 1770. I'm sticking on that. Boston and the Lakers. It could be. Well, Something ain't right with KD. Yeah, it's not. It's hard to come back for a dude that tall. And I'll even dare say no one's really come back from it, at least not in a year after hurting that. Also, LeBron said he switched his number to 6 next season, which is the what Dr. J had to do, which is the Bill Russell. Curry's about to break Kobe's streak. Yeah, they've been pumping that up too. Once he built Wilt, built Wilt. But that's my thing is, the Wilt ritual, him being Curry beating Wilt, saying that makes me still lean to the Sixers. And the Sixers scored what? Sixers beat the Clippers, and the ratings was pretty decent. People love Doc. People's loving that team. Embiid, they did Embiid like they did Shaq when Shaq started getting serious and winning. Remember, Shaq was on everything. It was kind of falling off a little bit in his free throw shooting. But when Shaq stopped doing all the stuff and all the commercials, they was letting Shaq win. Because before then, when he was doing everything, they wasn't letting him win. But Shaq quit doing all that. They let him win after that. So I'm looking at Embiid like that. He ain't doing them commercials once a year for Dr. Pepper or Sprite or whoever he does it for. Coca-Cola, I guess, would be Sprite. Oh, that's right. This is Monday morning. Wow. This is Monday morning. My computer's still doing good. I didn't get up today. I went to bed last night about 3:34. Shit, I was still so buzzed that I couldn't sleep for a minute. So I don't know what time I fell asleep. I didn't wake up till one damn thing. So today was a lovely day. The weather has been fairly cool. Today was fairly cool. And these are muscle relaxers, nerve relaxers. Because sitting this way, kind of, even with my leg hemmed up, there's something wrong with my leg. They don't know what's wrong with it, but it hurts. But I got that little gun that boom, 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 that helps. But still sitting this way kind of hurts me somewhat. So, I have to, my leg is hunched up on this damn, the Christmas popcorn tin, which my daughter ate this nasty stale stuff till it was disappeared. It's now full with cat food. It's filled with cat food now. So I take those pills if anybody wants to know because they relieve some of my ills. Will played for the Philadelphia Warriors. I would think we'll signal Curry versus Simmons final. That's going to be hard to put them in. Mountain Dew commercials. Okay, Mountain Dew. Reason why they added the play in. Maybe woke, but I don't see the Warriors getting in there. I just don't. They don't have enough firepower. It's going to be a incredibly hard scenario to write them in, saying Curry is just going to blaze everybody down. Maybe they'll let Curry score 100 in the game. Why wouldn't the NBA let LeBron three-peat now at an old age when he was with Miami? Could have done it in, yeah. That's a good point, King Kane. You got the Argonaut, a Theragun. I got one of them. It's the cheaper model. I got it for less than 40. I got it for $38 last week. Now it's back to 70 some bucks. I love Macy's. You catch that shit, you can get that shit. But it helps, it really helps. I got a pain here in my wrist because I'm wearing the braces, so my hands have been better, really a lot better. I might have to stick somebody. My hands felt so good, but my hips and my back. So I got to go get some acupuncture maybe tomorrow. Hope you get better. I'm going through injured arm too. Oh well, I've broken every hand. I've broken both hands. You see this? These I've broken every finger, and now I've got arthritis. Like I thought my brace did this. Let me see if I can get it there. That knot there. I thought my brace from wearing my brace, but shit, that ain't from the brace. So, when Brady wins, LeBron loses. When Brady wins, LeBron loses. That's a good. Okay. Every time Brady and LeBron lose the same year. Every time Brady wins, LeBron loses. That's a good point. Where did you play college football at? I went to North Carolina A&T. I played in the MEAC conference. Division 2 basketball back then. Division 1, Division 2 football, Division 1 basketball. I don't know what the hell we was in baseball. Now they got a track team. The track team just won the relay. They set a college record. The volleyball team made the NCAA. They didn't have volleyball when I was there. It was just, I was dating these several girls, and I would tell them to come in the gym. We'd all play volleyball together. That's all it had before then. And, a lot of them bending over doing digs. But that was and we did not have a track team either. Now they have all that. But again, we're talking about 40 years ago. Like the stadium I played in was new. I caught the first touchdown in that stadium going, I can't even say, but at the other end, I caught the first touchdown in that end zone ever. But that stadium's 40 years old. So, it's almost time to get a new stadium. Where are we at? Fake cane. Yeah, Theragun, is a good thing. You seen Brady. Okay, Adrian was posted in the chat for Freemason. Has me thinking. Brown is not losing with all this talent on his team. He's rested. LeBron ain't winning this year. Interesting. You look at Kelly Auburn, a big sellout too. Kelly Oubre. Well, you see they put him in that commercial. That's interesting. And I like the cat. I think his game can be nasty. But like his telltale. So think of early season. They play Curry. Curry's guarding him. He's been destroying the league up to that point. And this is before Christmas. Curry's guarding him, and all of a sudden he's running to the three-point line. He is killing everybody in the inside game, and Curry's guarding him. He runs to the three-point line. Do you see how they script this thing? If this was real, he would have went down there and backed Curry up and out, demanded the ball and just slammed on Curry every time. Remember when LeBron and them, when whoever Curry guarded, they went at. They was exposing the fix. Whoever Curry was guarding, remember that when Cleveland played him? They was exposed, or maybe it had to be Cleveland. Yeah, they was exposing that Curry couldn't guard anybody. And I think if you watch anything against the script, that was probably against the script. But whoever he guarded, that's who they went to. And a lot of times doing that, they would throw turnovers. Instead of Curry have to guard somebody, it'd be a turnover. It'd be a bad pass. Team literally, they plan to make Curry relevant again for some reason. But Curry leading up. Curry's carrying the regular season. When LeBron and them hurt, Curry is carrying the regular season. And that could be his role. Is to, give the popularity of the regular season. We'll give you a so-so run in the West. But Spider Mitchell, they say he might miss up to 7 to 10 games. So that's going to be costly for Utah. They're trying to make, team literally beat the Nets with KD and Kyrie with no Bron or AD. Yeah, exactly. Why can't they script Westbrook for a ring? I don't know. Maybe because he looked like a Cro-Magnon man. I think that's the real reason why. He looks like one of the Neanderthal folks. So I don't think they want him to be the first Neanderthal to win a title. I mean, he looks like a Neanderthal. And I think that is why they don't. They like, we're going to let you hoop Neanderthal, but you can't win one. The Nets-Lakers game was scripted. Did you see the game today with the Nets, the Knicks playing the Pelicans? I still say that Zion still can't walk. There's a dude who did a funny thing on his dunks, and he walks like a penguin still. He ruined basketball. He's not a good image. The Net Lakers he's not a good image. He ruined basketball. It's not. But Zion, I mean, if you watch him walk, that is a scary thing. This brother just can't really walk. It's like he was never taught. And that's like I've said with his shooting. You notice this year he ain't shooting threes? He is such a bad shooter that this year he ain't even shooting threes. He's just taking people to the hole. Why make him shoot threes when he's still set shot shooting? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wasn't sure. So that's what I thought was odd about that. He's not coordinated at all. Well, during this little break, I do give back. So, I want to show this. I brought this out here. A lot of people ask. So, those of you that's interested in crystals. Somebody used my saying crystals and pistols. It was interesting. Somebody caught that, and I saw somebody else use that. But those of you that's out there, Robert Simmons' book, and then it has Natasha's too, and this has pictures in it of every stone. But I want to say this. So yeah, there's this stuff called aztolite that Simmons he pushes, and you get that in here. But this gives you the pictures, and it's Robert Simmons. He's the one that owns Heaven and Earth. For those of you that look for crystals and stuff, they also sell them. You get, they sell inexpensive ones as well. So we are at 13 bassoons, 0 cartoons. We are at 8 tunes. We are at 8 unals, and we are at 1 kin. And 1 kin is always pretty much alligator or dragon. So in the Mayan language, it would be, again, so those of you that want to manifest, the energy is from the east. We're a new cycle. And so this is one of the times where you have all 4 directions kind of giving you a push because it is a reset. Source of life, dragon, primal water, blood, nutrients, breast, mother energy, power of birthing. And this is the Mayan glyph. And then those of you, and then for the Toltec, again, it's always the same thing. It's the Picatel or dragon. That is the glyph. In this card image, we see the superior jaw of dragon poised to devour Toltec, who's at the right. But the dragon does not signify only the possible destruction of the Toltec. The nurturing part of the dragon is represented by the breast, the archetypical representation of nurturing that is located right below its eye. The Toltec on the right is not afraid, but is offering the dragon some fruit as a gesture of friendship. In the upper right corner, a human being is entering into the dragon, representing both the risk of not knowing how to deal with the dragon and return of the earth to start all over again. The classic metaphor of the dragon is that it may destroy you if you try to kill it, or it may take you on a flight and share its powers with you if you learn how to turn it into a friend. Again, make the unagreeable agreeable. From the Toltec point of view, in no case could killing the dragon be good medicine. And what do they tell you in Lord of the Rings? They want to kill the dragon because they want the dragon's energy and its gold. Could be good medicine because the aim of the Toltec culture was the integration of the opposites, not a battle between them. The dragon is a sacred symbol of that perspective. Spicote, the dragon, is your own energy, manifest through your own personal qualities and behavior. The energy of the dragon can serve either your talents or your weaknesses. It usually works in both ways. But the dragon is a single entity. It is just energy. It is telling you that both sides of yourself that you like and what you don't like are made of the same energy. Therefore, these two opposites that seem to constitute the core of your conflict are connected in the bottom line level of energy. The revelation of the dragon is a major realization about the process of life and soul development. It lets you see that what you hate about yourself and what you love about yourself are not disconnected from things, but somehow they're the same. If you make friends with your dragon, you will learn to transmute your weakness into your strength. By embracing the dragon, you don't have to waste energy trying to reject it. Consider this: the only source of energy for you to build your strength is the energy you have been spending in your weaknesses and your constant useless rejection of them. Your strength may be your weakness, and your weakness may be your strength. This is the message of the dragon. Think about a person who is so caring with others that he's considering his own needs to be secondary. In a particular moment, that seems to be fine, but as time goes by, not taking care of one's own needs takes its toll, filling one's soul with sadness and disappointment and resentment. Both traits, the virtue of caring for others and the flaw of not taking care of your own needs, are very similar patterns. They come from the same source. In this case, the willingness to help others, which makes the difference between the virtue and the flaws, the intention which the quality is expressed. Now think about someone who's determined and strong and willed, succeeds in overcoming any obstacle, which is a great talent. Compare that person to someone who is authoritarian and is so obsessed with achieving certain results that he never cares about other people's hurts or opinions or feelings. This could be a problem. The interesting part that both traits are very similar way of using energy. And again, it is a level of intensity that tips the balance of the side of strength to the side of the weakness. The Occult card is inviting you to notice how your weakness may be hiding a talent that you are not taking advantage of by changing the intensity of the matter which you manifest energy. Your weakness may be turned into a talent. The dragon is also showing that if you go to extremes in the use of your talent, you may turn to weaknesses that will lead into failure. And some things is, am I thinking the same kind of thought again and again? What is the most repetitive thoughts I have? What is this energetic result of my repetitive thoughts? What kind of thinking should I practice to change my negative thought pattern? So any funk, it's your thoughts that put you into that funk. And yes, certain conditions, but it's how you react to the conditions. There's a saying that we said where I play football, we have to fight even though we want to cry. I would be in the huddle with some of these big dudes, 6'4", 320, solid brother. But he done got his ass whooped so bad by the dude across from me, he is literally in this huddle crying. But you know what? The play was called, he went and lined up against that motherfucker again. Just because he was crying didn't mean he was done. And that's the thing through life. The system can whoop your ass as much as it wants, but don't ever let this system make you quit thinking. Because you do have to fight even though you want to cry. I mean, if you got to fucking give your children food for you to go hungry, it might be good for you to fast, but you make sure them children eat. That's the point of old Mother Hubbard. Y'all eat. I'll even feed the dog before I feed myself. This last little bit of food, I'll give to the dog. Give to my children, and then this last little bit of food that should go to me, I'll give it to my dog. You could register your thoughts in a journal often as you can for a week or a month. Make a list of the most repetitive thoughts you have and those the effects of your life. Underline any obsessive thinking patterns and make a plan to change them. Introduce short sessions of reflection or meditation on your life. Meditating at least 15 minutes a day will help you. You'll benefit clearly from it. If you can put it to a half hour, you will clearly benefit from 15 minutes of just pure meditation. Pure your thoughts. Pure, like 15 minutes of a certain type of bliss if you can achieve that. It's like a power nap. You know, a lot of companies now let people take power naps. When I worked at Pfizer, they let people, if you on your lunch break wanted to take a nap, they had couches where you could go out there and sleep on the couches. They encourage that kind of thing. They weren't against it. You know, some places, no, keep your ass up. I did quality at some places. They would only get a worker's 15-minute lunch break. And there'd be a line at the microwave. And I would just sit back and watch this. I'm like, what people would go for this? Because you get to go home earlier? I would rather have substance and time to recoup. You know, one thing that unions put in is you get a 15-minute break in the morning, you get a half-hour lunch, and you get a 15-minute break at night. That means you get a total of an hour off during that day to rejuvenate yourself. That's what unions push. I worked at a place would only give you the total of 25 minutes off. And one time I saw what they did to immigrant workers, make them work 12 hours and gave them one 30-minute lunch break. That's it. Work 6, get a 30-minute lunch break, and then work 6 straight. If you had to go to the bathroom, somebody had to replace you on the line before you could go to the bathroom. This is how cruel they did people. And none of these people, again, no one would speak up, no union. He's not coordinated. Zion is Blake Griffin. Without Magnus, Guinness is the best. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they kind of pushed Guinness. They tried to, again, he couldn't shoot. He went in the league, couldn't shoot. So you know all his long shots are manipulated. You know when everybody, when we got a 6'5" dude stopping a 7-foot dude in the playoffs because he guards him. So wouldn't you pass the ball off and then go post up a guy 6'5"? He didn't do that, did he? He would go right into the turnover. So not one time did he pass off and then go to the basket and post. He just kept just trying to force it. But you saw the script. Again, a person, he's not a very talented person. Let's be honest. This guy is not very talented, the Greek freak. So they have to put him in roles because this guy probably couldn't pass off and then go post. He just doesn't have a lot of skill. But again, it's getting rid of American Indians out of the NBA and bringing any dark face in. Because you can't tell me him and his brothers and ain't better dudes in America. We know that's not true because we watch college sports. And it's proven that there's better players. He shouldn't have got the chance, is my point. He shouldn't have got the chance, him or his brothers. But they want to do away with the American players. And that's what we're watching. That's what they would prefer, is to bring them European players over here and get more of them European-looking faces. That's what they go. And then the dark faces, they want them to come from somewhere else. They don't want them to be the dark faces of America. They want them to be dark faces from somewhere else. That's what they're pushing for. That's what the Greek freak and his brothers represent, because they shouldn't be in tacos the same way. These guys shouldn't be in the league. But they want anybody that's not from here. They want to push us out. Hero Twins won't have it, though. They will get their revenge on this corruption of the sacred ball game, or continuous ball game, excuse me. How long? It got to be pretty late. I started late. Oh, it's not bad. Okay. It's not too bad. It is not too bad. Somebody said Westbrook is an asshole. The Lakers game was scripted. He's not good image. No, he's not. He ruined it. Yeah. His brothers are trash. One played here at the University of Dayton, and he didn't even start. I mean, you can just watch them. They're not talented players. There's no reason for them to be in the league other than it's agenda-driven. And, no one can argue that with me. It's agenda-driven. Them being in the league is agenda-driven. And like we was talking about Hakeem, it went back to Hakeem. Why did they need to start doing camps in Africa? Now, we had one guy, and I used to torch him on the regular, and I was in my 30s. But he was one of the guys, and so we put together a tape. It was like we could only give one play. So we put music, and we showed one play over and over again. But Bobby ended up playing in Africa. That was the only place we could get him to land, because Bobby just wasn't that great. So we are, the African leagues were considered the lowest lows of the lowest leagues. If you had to go overseas, it was one of the lowest of the lowest. It was like hooping in Sweden or Denmark or some shit like that. And so all of a sudden you bring in cats, and because those brothers is from Africa and they went through Greece, grew up in Greece, but they're African brothers. And it's the system wants to replace the brothers because it gives us energy. Now, we'll never be replaced in football. It's just we're going to dominate that. And we actually dominate basketball. But football as a generator, a lot of people. When this goes back in the stands and the ratings, football is just dominating. So football doesn't have to worry. Baseball, we're secure because you got the brothers from South America. Now, they may not act like brothers, but they still are brothers from South America. And they got that on lock because it's still part of the continuous ball game. And let's be honest, the ball game was created in South America. So I think they should benefit from that. They should. The game was created down there. So I have no problem with that. Now, a lot of American players are switched from playing that kind of game. It's one of the cheapest games to play, but a lot of brothers ain't going in that route. Yeah, Adam Silver just started a league called NBA Africa. Well, they've been pushing that though. It's been leagues over there. Again, American scouts and coaches went over there and set all those leagues up. I mean, watch the Globetrotter movies where the Globetrotters go over there. The Globetrotters got Russia playing basketball. They got the English in England playing basketball. They got the Israelis playing basketball, the Polish. I mean, the Globetrotters don't get enough love for this. They don't get enough love for that. But the Globetrotters took the sacred ball game or the continuous ball game everywhere, everywhere. And I don't think they get enough enough recognition for that. Because, the Globetrotters always had two squads. It was, two squads that traveled. One would just travel in America. The other one would travel around the world. So they always had two teams playing. Hey, Mr. T, thank you. It's mighty late, but thank you for joining me. And then, in the last probably 30 years, Americans have run them leagues, and Americans kind of pass players along. That's why we started tonight talking about Marbury and what Marbury's role was. Marbury was taken over there because he was the seeds to make that the top league. And that's what the NBA did. Is the Chinese started investing a lot of money in Nike, a lot of money in NBA, a lot of money in camps. Apparel, China was the #1 country buying apparel. This labeled Nike, NBA, jerseys. So they made that the top league, and that was Marbury, even though I think he only won 2 titles over there. Maybe 3, but I only think 2. Maybe 3 at the most. No more than 3, but at least 2. And he got a damn museum. But if you look at his career, the career was a museum career over there. But again, they can say this guy played in the NBA because that's part of his museum. He has his NBA career, and he played probably made pension money long enough, 5-6 years. I think it was 6 years as the cutoff. And then his career over there. And then that was the top league. That was the top league. So they switched it from Europe. But like Luka was a guy that they've had their eye on his whole life. His whole life, he was under a structure of an NBA scout and recruiter his whole life. You can't say he wasn't. I would dare say even Tony Parker. Because Tony Parker started playing at a very young age, competing against men. And that's one thing about basketball that's different than any other sport is you can put any – you put 5 on 5, and as I would play with my son when he was younger, he always wanted to play with me because, like, you always win, Dad, because I put that work in. But when I was coaching, my son would be one of the 5. I'd play against my brother-in-laws or my daughter's uncles and some of his friends, and I would take my son. It didn't matter to me. But my point is, you can be little playing with men, and it should make you better. But so you have children, make them play with older people. It will make you better. I remember when Luka played at Real Madrid. There you go. Look at Rubio. Look at Rubio when the dream team and shit was going. Well, Rubio wasn't that old, but look at Rubio when Spain won the gold medal. Rubio didn't play. He was on that team. He didn't even play. He was a bench warmer. I'm pretty sure the last time when Spain won the gold medal, I want to say Rubio was on that team. And I could be wrong. But Rubio was playing in Spain. He was a bench rider in Spain. Because he stayed. He didn't come. When he originally was drafted by the Timberwolves, he didn't even come that season. He came the next season. And, the thing was this dude ain't even playing where he at. Why did they pick this guy? And you saw his career. He's better now. But at first, this dude was very disappointing. And they kept him around for a long time, despite him being. Then they brought his ass back. He there now. So why would you want him? You got rid of him at his prime, and now you want him past his prime. If that ain't, if that ain't fixed, you telling me there ain't brothers that's better than him at this point in his career? It's interesting. And now the Alex Rodriguez and this billionaire that owns the Timberwolves, that they say they're not going to leave. I'll say this, though. They sell out. People back them. Win or lose, I've never watched where people didn't back the Timberwolves. Win or lose, people come to the games. Hockey is probably the biggest supporter. I would say people support hockey more than they do the Twins. But the Twins would always have good crowds, too. And that's one of my favorite things to do. Hot Dog Wednesday. What is it? Dollar beers, or it's $2 beers and dollar hot dogs. And I don't eat a lot of hot dogs, but it's like beef hot dogs. And just to spend a warm Minnesota summer day, yeah, that is a fun time to me. Go watch a baseball game on a hot day. I like sitting right behind the dude with the camera behind home plate. That's my favorite seat in in target field. Sit right there behind him. One of those seats right in there behind him. And you're like the second level home plate. And it's a great shot. It's a great, great time. I've sat there several times. I've even thought about getting a season ticket there in the past because I that's to me one of the best parts to watch the game. So I don't know. I like live baseball. We got a semi-pro team in St. Paul called the Saints. Bill Murray used to own them. I don't know if he still does, but he used to own them. And that was the last time I saw Pat Senior play baseball. I saw that he was going to be in town, and so I went over there and watched him pitch. And it's funny how he had aged. And this is shit 8 maybe. I want to say Pat was still playing at 8. Yeah, and it's funny how just time. He was such a handsome, younger man, but you could just see how time had beat him up when he was pitching. I was like, whoa, almost didn't recognize him. He had aged, and he's younger than me, but he had aged so much because I probably hadn't seen him, for 10 years before that point. Yeah, because the last time I saw him was probably when he was pitching with the Twins, 95. So, yeah, so this was probably 12, 13 years later, I saw him again. And I kind of followed his career, but when I saw him, it was like, wow, he had really times that you could see that time had really not been kind to him. And I don't know, this thing. I know here, he had a few mental things that mess with him, because his father killed himself. Pat Senior's father had killed himself. So they suspected that when he flipped on a bridge here, that he tried to kill himself. They always wondered that because I don't think he got over his father dying. So he suffered a little bit from that. But you see him now, you can kind of see where, and this man's still a millionaire. Let's say that this man is still a millionaire, even without his son's money. That man is still a millionaire. But child support probably wasn't kind to him because he wasn't with the mother. They show them together, but yeah, he been left her, or she been left him. But she was in his pocket for 18 years, so she ain't hurt neither. It's like Kirby Puckett's wife now has all Kirby's bread, and they was getting divorced, or might have been divorced when he died, but I think she got all his bread. So that's kind of how rough it can be. You got Jimi Hendrix that met a person twice, and this person has made almost $1 billion off of a person she met twice. Marilyn Monroe had a housekeeper, and they said she didn't have any other family. Well, there's things that say that Marilyn Monroe could have been melanated, and that she had some melanated family, but they cut all them out. But a housekeeper that Marilyn, she never met all these people, yet they've gotten almost $1 billion off of her. Luckily, Elvis's people control Elvis. But Jimi Hendrix shit and Marilyn shit is the biggest travesty that there ever was. And we're kind of seeing the same thing play out with Prince's people. We got lawyers that got a big chunk of the money already. So much money, a judge had to stand in and said, fuck this. You lawyers is doing this shit just to bleed money out. This ain't no free money thing, because that's all the payments on the family side is coming out of the Prince's money. Oh, and they're releasing an album. They're releasing a Prince album, a new Prince material. Now, I was never a great Prince fan. I respected his ability. As far as music, another one like he does. There's a group called The Family that Prince produced. You can't even find the original issue of The Family because he sings on that original. I don't have the 45 or the extended version, but it's him singing with them, and I think that's why they took it off. So I'm going to see if I can go around these record stores and see if I can find that original one that shows Prince singing, or you can hear Prince singing because it's the screams of passion. But Prince sings on the original. Definitely sings background with them. Almost like not even background. It's like him and that lead singer singing it the whole time. So, but he's releasing a new one, and there's a vault of material. So we'll be seeing kind of like seems like they ran out of Tupac stuff. You ain't seeing any more new Tupac, but I think there's going to be years of Prince new material. And that's what I didn't understand about Biggie. You're laying down for a year and you're not making any material. That made no sense. That just shows something funny had to be there. You know how easy it is to put a studio around a person and just get his vocals? And not one time was that done so that shows Something was kind of funny there. Screams of Passion. I remember that song back in the day. Yeah, that's Prince. That's Prince and the lead singer. That's Prince and the lead singer, kind of both singing at the same time. But you can hear Prince. That's Prince too. Like a lot of the screams is definitely Prince. But I haven't been able to find that version. You can't find it on YouTube. iTunes does not have their original version. They play the live version. And if I'm not mistaken, that was Jerome's group. Jerome is in that group. That was Jerome's group because they're doing Jerome's stupid dance, but they're doing the video is down at the Avenue. The video's down at the Avenue. Hey Jeffrey, what's happening? Wow, shooting in Texas, and people better get out their papers out in Ontario. Yeah, they're about to put the slammer down to people in Canada. But the people, that's what they put in office. So they one of the grand wizards or grand, I know lizards is what I want to say. The grand lizard got laid down. So, the people about to pay for that kind of ritual. So the Upers better react. And a shooting at a bar too. Well, it was a shooting here at a bar. I mean, yeah, it was shootings up here. I showed the video of that. That was all continuous from just tonight and last night. So it's a lot of violence up here. And Slow Joe says, don't be violent. Prince was a big hooper too. Heard he was good enough to play D1 ball. I don't know about that. I don't know about D1 ball. Prince is only about 5 foot. So, but I'll say this: the guys that played with him said he hustled and everything. It was quick and could shoot, but he's only about 5 foot tall. So, don't know about that. But he loved it his whole life. I mean, he played in junior high. He played in high school. That high school doesn't exist anymore. He played in Minneapolis South, and that high school doesn't exist. Minneapolis North is the only one of those older schools that exist. My best friend, he graduated from North. It's a receiver for Tampa Bay. One of the receivers, the tight end from Tampa Bay, I think is from here. I want to say his name is Johnson, but he went to North as well. And they won state in football. They was about to close the school. They brought a lot of Hmong there. They kept that one going. Patrick Henry is another one. It was almost entirely Hmong school in the hood. Hmong school in the hood. Do you understand? This school is in the hood, but it's mostly attended by Hmong people. Because I used to live by it. And yeah, ain't no Hmong people in the neighborhood. They bust all these Hmong people in. That kept that school alive. Patrick Henry, or North was very similar. But yeah, Prince loved hooping. My cousin Narda said that Prince beat him in 21. And I'm like, but you're not very good. Narda, I know, is not very good. So wouldn't have been very hard to beat my cousin Narda. Hooping wasn't his thing. But he was a decent athlete. He's not tall. He had a brother that was taller. But he grew up hooping, I don't know if Narda played high school ball. But yeah, so Prince beating him wasn't nothing. Because he wasn't, but he hustled, and everybody said he was quick. But I don't know about if he'd have played D1. I don't know about that. At 5 foot, kind of tough. Kind of tough. He did what his passion was. That was music. Produce a song and play every instrument. That's some shit that Jimi Hendrix did on Electric Ladyland. He played on most of the instruments, especially when the bassist, the cat from Europe, that cat, I can't think of his name right now, but when that cat act funky and wanted to be Fat Mattress and be a star, he was mad that the brother was the star. When he quit, he brought Billy Cox in. Yeah, Jimmy would play the bass. So you listen to Electric Ladyland, you want to hear prime Jimi Hendrix. It's the Electric Ladyland album. It's a double album. It says okay to snitch in your neighbors in Ontario if they have too much company. The police can arrest you if you don't have the right paperwork. Why would I get mad on what's going on up there? That don't make me mad. They accept that shit and don't do shit about it. These motherfuckers been closed the goddamn border. The border been closed. Now there's parts of Minnesota where they don't, the border ain't patrolled. The border ain't a checkpoint. There's parts of that you can just go straight on. But if they catch your ass over there, they will detain you. So we're a fan of Miles Davis. Oh yeah, Coltrane, definitely Coltrane. I've said this many times. That song "Shining Star." I'm surprised the Coltrane family didn't sue Earth, Wind and Fire because that's a Coltrane note. of Shiny Star. It's right here. What's it called? I think I said the wrong name, but yeah, I'm more of a Coltrane than Miles. I like some of Miles, but I'm still more Coltrane. And like I used to watch Miles on TV. I'm old enough to remember playing. He always turned his back to the audience. I was like, this is a weird motherfucker here. So that turned me off to his playing too. Where's my music? Because I made it just a Coltrane channel too. Because if I'm just chilling, I'll listen to just I like tonight. I download a lot of Jackie Wilson. I want a woman, a lover, a friend. They played that in the Eddie Murphy movie. Here we go. Let me see. Down here, Coltrane. I want to get this song right. Yeah, right here. This song is called Cousin Mary. It goes shiny star, dun, 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 no matter who you are, dun, 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 and proud. And Cousin Mary goes dun, 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 dun. It's the same. It's the same. It's the same. And I'm surprised they didn't sue him. And maybe they never caught it. But it's taken from his music. But yeah, Jackie Robinson. I want somebody to hold my hand, someone to love me and understand. I want a woman, I want a lover, I want a friend. Oh shit, this is pimping music. You don't know nothing about pimping. Listen to Jackie Wilson, and he will teach you about pimping music. They called him Mr. Excitement. They said Elvis used to just stand in the background where Elvis got that. I don't know if y'all hip to dancing like the broken leg dancing, where you can dance like, they call it the broken leg dancing. That's Jackie Wilson. And Elvis copied that. The broke leg dancing is what they call it, where you doing the broken leg. Yeah. A woman, a lover, a friend. That is why I love you so. You keep lifting me higher. You'll see that on Soul Train. If you want to see who Jackie Robinson is to a more newer crowd, his last hit was You Keep Lifting Me. Your love keeps lifting me higher. You saw it on a couple commercials. But yeah, Jackie, why is my phone charging? I'm not sure. Oh, this shit ain't plugged in. But that's sometimes how my vibe does. Miles was a weird dude. Coltrane sung Alabama. Yeah. Bill Withers was smooth. And Curtis Mayfield too. Shit, man. If you want to be into Curtis Mayfield, get the Superfly album. Almost every song. Freddie's Dead, Superfly. I mean, the whole album is just perfect. If you want prime Curtis Mayfield, it's dun, 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 dun. Oh, what is that called? I'd have to look it up to know the song name of it. But that's if you want prime Curtis Mayfield, that's him at his peak. Like Jimi Hendrix can play Curtis Mayfield guitar. You hear a little bit of that in this guitar. But let me see. What's this Curtis Mayfield song? Dun, 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 dun. Oh. It'll be on this one. Moving on up. I think it's moving on up. Yeah, moving on up. Get moving on up. If you really want to experience real, like listen to all the Superfly album, but listen to Moving On Up. Because Moving On Up is almost an instrumental. But just depends on my mood. I like new music because I like to hear the vibration that the young people are moving on, and I like to gauge the vibration and see where they're going with it and how it affects young people. So, is the next best quarterback that dude Trevor? Well, you remember what they did to Burrows? They broke Burrows' leg this year. But yeah, I love Bill Weathers. That reminds me of my first wife. When I look at you, a lovely, lovely day. Yeah. Keep on up. There you go. Kanye sampled it too. Yeah. Move on up. Yeah. Trap is pretty low frequency. Yeah, a lot of it. Oh, listen to Barkays. They don't put the best Barkays song. Well, the Barkays was with Otis Redding. A lot of them got killed. A lot of the band got killed with Otis Redding. But if you're talking about the Barcades that sing Move Your Boogie Body, I saw them live a couple of times. But they had a song, Your Attitude. Your attitude is what describes you, what you want to be, but is that what the people see? I haven't been able to find that song. It was a couple. I am riding high for your love, high in the sky. That's Barcades too. Do what you want to. Do it, everyone. Do what you want to. Let's have some fun. That album, whatever those three songs, that was the album. And every song was good. I had that shit on 8-track. An 8-track was so cool where you could just like make it skip the rest of the tracks. Say like one track had 4 songs that was your favorite. You could set up your 8-track where you could just make it play them 4 songs over and over again. It's like a repeat now, but it would play them 4 songs over and over again. But yeah. Donny Hathaway, Back Together Again, Little Ghetto Boy. But Back Together Again in the Christmas song. The Christmas song shows his brilliance and his clarity of voice. So, but the Christmas song is his baby, even though others try to do it. That is his baby. But Back Together Again with Roberta Flack, if you want to, really get into some Donny Hathaway. But Little Ghetto Boy too. Holy Ghost, Traffic Jammer, Woman on the Night, my top 3. Okay, I will fight you for bringing up Holy Ghost. I told people that follow me, do not ever bring up Holy Ghost because it makes me go crazy thinking about Holy Ghost. My roommate had speakers about 4 foot wide and about 5 foot high, and every morning when he woke up, he played Holy Ghost. Oh my goodness. So I got Holy Ghost out, but that was how we woke up with mine. I was already up, but it would make the wall. His speakers was so loud. They weren't even his. Somebody told him to hold it for him. I think somebody was about to be beat up and jacked, so they gave it to Wayman. And I don't know if Wayman ever gave it back, but every morning, my wall's just shaking. I'm like, you asshole. War. Oh, I love War. Me and Baby Brother. That reminds me of me and my brother. Cisco Kid. Yeah, War is nice. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Me and Baby Brother. Yeah, but I'll go back to War with Eric Burton. You can find their first album with Eric Burton singing with them from the Animals. War and Eric Burton. Still the Wine. Get that girl. Still the Wine. That's Eric Burton singing that, but that was their first hit. But yeah, I love War. Superman, Batman, Going All Night. Playing one-on-one with the meteorite. It's out of sight. It's out of sight. And then they got a harmonica player. I want to say I saw War live too, but they had a harmonica player that was one of the bad boys. Heat Wave, Groove Line, Holy Ghost was a banger. Heat Wave, is always and forever. I mean, that's a good album. If you want to like disco music, all that Heat Wave album, High Walking, I'm going high walking. I think it was one of the songs on Heat Wave, but Always Forever. You talking about you want to just hold somebody you love and just move a few inches at a time. That was Always Forever. And it was like the other side was almost only Always Forever. But yeah, Heat Wave. But it was the whole album was good. It was like one side, every song was banging. The other side was almost Always Forever, the whole side. It was like maybe one song, but the rest of it was Always Forever. And you holding a girl and you listen to Always and Forever, each moment with you is something that I can't explain. It's like a dream come true. And I know tomorrow will still be the same. I about forgot the rest of it because this is a dream to me that I don't think will ever change. Loving you each and every way. Yeah, that's Heat Wave, pimping music. Dayton, Ohio Players. Oh yeah, Ohio Players. Jive Turkey, Honey, Fire. My 9th grade being in love. That was Fire and Roller Coaster. I remember a girl gave me a note. She wrote me a note. She might have been in 8th grade. I was in 9th grade. She wrote me a note and said, I can't wait to ride the roller coaster when you come over. I had that note for years too, but this little 8th grade girl wrote me that shit. I was in 9th grade. She was in 8th, and she wrote me a note that said she couldn't wait for me to ride the roller coaster. Funkadelic. Oh, everything Funkadelic. I mean, Maggot Brain is some of the baddest shit ever. I mean, Maggot Brain by both of them. You know, I know Nick had put California Dreaming, but California Dreaming by Eddie Hazel is the shit. Watch that breakdown, DMX and Infinite Consciousness shit is sharp onto it. Okay, yeah. One Infinite Consciousness is a bad motherfucker. He's a bad motherfucker, Sean. So I know if he put some shit out, he put some fire shit out. I had to check it out. He came through the other night. One of the other nights he had came through and shit. So yeah, I'll check it out because I support people. You know, I give them likes. I support them. You know. Wish I had more bread. I would spread bread around. That's one thing I like about that match me shit. They spread bread around to each other. These people make thousands of dollars, and once they make thousands of dollars, they play the game of spreading the bread around. They'll have a lesser person that's got lesser diamonds, and they'll have them on. So you know they get that bread spread around, and that is one thing I like about it. This is about much as I'll do every day. And that's what that calls for. That calls for you to be in front of that motherfucker every day. And that's how these girls is making their bread. These girls is making bread and they ain't even saying shit. Just be made face full of makeup. The motherfuckers giving them bread. But it's a community, you know, and any woman looking out there, it's a community where you ain't really got to take off your clothes to make bread. It ain't like that fan only shit. These chicks ain't doing shit but looking pretty, fucking with people. Some people have and it's a pimping thing. I like this part of it. It's a pimping part because you put motherfuckers in a box and they get 2 minutes to rap to you. And there are so women that can just like fuck these people up saying shit, but keep other motherfuckers keep coming into it. But it's about constantly streaming, which, you know, I've tried this shit, but it's just like, I ain't gonna constantly do that shit. I ain't with it like that. After a while, that shit gets stale to me. This is enough. Nonetheless, your shit is sharp and awesome too. Well, thank you, Sean. I thank you. You know, Muddy Waters, Hoochie Coochie Man. How do you spell his channel? He spelled it right. It's one infinite consciousness. It's number one, I think, in front of the I. Infinite consciousness is how you spell it. One infinite consciousness is how you spell it. It's funny how players got a street named after them. Yeah. Muddy Waters. Yeah, Charlie. Oh, what's up, Charlie? If I didn't say what's happening. Muddy Waters, like, it's funny. My dad and my grandfather loved the blues. And I can remember one time smoking a joint, drinking a beer, and sitting with my grandfather. My grandfather was listening to radio because it was a northern radio station in Michigan, which, you know, wasn't a whole bunch of brother music, but they played the blues like every Saturday morning or some shit. They had a blues hour. And I could just remember him being a little buzzed. He thought he was drinking some beer. And I remember, again, as I said, I smoked a joint and had drank a quart of beer. You know, they don't make quarts anymore. But I just remember feeling lit and just was out there. And he was just, you know, you hearing, you know, the Mississippi, you know, my family comes from Macon, Mississippi. So you're hearing that Mississippi Delta blues stuff, you know, and it gets deep in your soul. You know, it really does, listening to the blues. And it was just my appreciation of all music. You know, and it wasn't, you know, really R&B. Funk was more my thing, but I still could appreciate it. And I was just, you know, my father loved it just as much, you know. So, yeah, I love Muddy Waters too. Now, OnlyFans is pimping. The owner dude gets a 20% cut of all money coming. Well, when I'm talking about this shit, what's it called? Plenty of Fish, Match Me. They take 50%. They take 50%. Yeah. Match Me takes 50%. So that's a hit. That's a hit. And you only get bread. You got to get like 400,000 diamonds to get $1,000. And you ain't even getting that $1,000. You're only getting 500. And think about taxes. So it's a little bit of a scam going there. Because this shit, if you do the cash through these motherfuckers, they take 30%. So it's like Moray got 56 million views, which got him about 300,000, maybe 4. But think about that. They getting 30%. And then, you know, you got to claim all that. You claim all that too. So I hope he can pay back the taxes. Uh, why do melanated people love to smoke? I've noticed we like to do it more than other races. I'm gonna answer your question, Moray. Why do people melanated smoke? Well, this can go with natives as well because the young elder I had on last summer at my other channel, I might have to have him on again. Obawichi, I think is how you say it. I say the name wrong, but like he noticed that all his people had those kind of problems too. They either was methed out. All of them smoke cigarettes. It's like I haven't yet met a native person that doesn't smoke cigarettes. But the thing is with us is we are tied to the tobacco spiritually because at one point in time, especially the East Coast people, the woodland people, we depended on tobacco more than other things. And so we use tobacco as healing things. So tobacco to us is naturally medicine to us. So what you have is this generation is tied to it. And so sadly, a lot of us smoke the cheap stuff, which is the cigarettes. That's the cheap, chemically filled shit to make you addicted to them. As I was saying before, you look at the old movies, the broke motherfuckers smoke cigarettes. The rich people smoke cigars. But what the movies did is started, showing women smoke, like women is missing out. Like look up Betty Davis and look how she looked when she got old. And look at how when she was young, she was one of the baddest women that ever lived. Betty Davis eyes. But look at her when she's all decrepit and old. When and I've said this before, when Judy Garland did The Wizard of Oz, they didn't feed her for almost 3 months. They kept her high on speed and cigarettes, so she wouldn't get too big for that Dorothy costume not fit. Child abuse. She was only 15 or 16 when she made that movie. Child abuse. And you wonder why she was fucked up the rest of her life. But we are so ingrained with the tobacco because it was once used differently. And so that's why we switched to the weed. Because most of us use the weed the way tobacco was once used. It's a healing thing. That's why the blunt was put in there to it too. The blunt kind of touches both. You've got the weed for the stimulating of the mind, but yet the grounding of the tobacco leaf. And the sad thing is, it makes you addicted to the tobacco leaf because marijuana is not addictive. Nicotine is. And, the thing that I started seeing, I think I almost invented that shit. Because back in 80, let me get this right, 82, 83, my ex-wife, my two of my sons' mother's family, she grew up on one of them plantations. And her mother had moved from the shack she grew up in to another plantation where same people owned it. And but they were near the cure house. So I would always, I've said this many times, how much I love fresh tobacco. But one time I just took a cured tobacco leaf and I had about an ounce and I cut the raw tobacco leaf and I just put about a half ounce in it and rolled it. And I put some cocaine powder in it too, but I rolled it and licked it and rolled it and heated it and got it, where it stuck together. And that was 82, 83. And so that was my, every time I would go down there, I would try something like that. So that was 82. I think the first time, 82 or 83. Trying to think when I got that car. Yeah, 82, 83, somewhere in there. And was doing it back then. So, with a real, because, tobacco leaf is like a big ass leaf. And you don't chop off the stalk, you just cut off the leaves. But curing tobacco burn, you're talking about it being healing. Oh my goodness, I love that. Tobacco calls spirits too. A lot of Bruja burn cigars to communicate with spirits. The peace pipe, yep, girls selling themselves OnlyFans, but it happens when OnlyFans is going a couple of years. They're gonna apply for some real work. Yeah, so that's funny. Yeah, you could call it the spirits with tobacco. I guess in a little bit of Wudan, because in the East Coast it was mostly used for healing. Hemp industry taken over by DuPont. Well, shit, the Rockefellers, yeah, the Rockefellers is the ones that stopped that made it illegal. had these weirdos down south saying, when we got those colored people smoke marijuana, they feel just as like they're just as equal to us. That was the cry for them to make it illegal. They smoke that marijuana and they think they're just as good as us, like some God shit. It's like Eve biting the apple. They smoke that weed and they feel superior. So, but it was all the other aspects of it. It wasn't just the people smoking. It was so many. It competed with Rockefellers and the medicine. And right now, Rockefellers dominate medicine. You graduate from when people get their doctor degrees, medical doctor degrees, they're getting it from a Rockefeller-based sanction. It's like all the lawyers is fucking still barristers and shit. And you don't think we give the queen money, but all our lawyers is fucking barristers. Honey blunts with chocolate dip tied for me in the late 90s. Actually, that was William Randolph Hearst. Hearst? No. It was with the Rockefellers too. I'm not saying Hearst didn't have his hand in it, but it actually destroyed the hemp industry. Yeah. Oh, well, it went into when the Puritans came over here and didn't want them healing with herbs. They was dealing with these local tribes, and the local tribes are showing you shit that could cure shit. And so when it got into where the Rockefellers saw they could make money, they did not want anything natural. They wanted them artificial shit. And that's still where we at today. Under that bullshit. But he was before Hearst. Hearst came in the 20s or 30s, but Rockefeller was before. Remember, because Rockefeller is from Standard Oil. He was the first motherfucker. They blew up his monopoly. They blew his shit up. I definitely feel spirits around me when I smoke. Interesting. Can't say I do any more than usual. I did, have a spirit visit me the other day that I'm still quite unsure about. And not unsure from the fact that I was spooked, but it was like, is this energy really a real energy? And then the way it came in appears to make the energy appear real when a lot of shit, I don't know. I'm kind of torn on it. It came in and it was not sure. I'm not sure how to interpret it. And that's, there's a saying, being God is lonely. It's like there's not a whole lot of people I can ask to interpret some shit I go through. That's where the saying, being a God is lonely, comes from. It's like when I have questions, a lot of times there's not people equal to answer the questions I have. I get kind of, I try to bounce them around, but I'm bouncing them around people that I'm a little deeper than, I guess is my point. I don't really have anybody as deep as me to, like, when I serve it, they can hit it back with equal strength. It's usually like I'm bazooking the shit to them and hoping they can catch it with the answer. Well, I'll say my brother, though. My brother is one. Maybe I'll take a little of that back. My brother is one where I can get him to bounce around some things, and he kind of can come at it as a wave where I come at it. So, yeah, Rockefellers was behind it too. But Rockefellers and Hearst helped with the propaganda. Hearst was the main propaganda. It was bad for business, absolutely. It was going to compete, though. Plastics and everything. You didn't need a lot of this shit. Fibbert could maybe be made with hemp. So there were so many businesses that, you see the Wise Eyes Shut. Yeah. I saw that movie a long time ago. Yep. I saw it, and I understand it. I understand, the propaganda behind it and what they pushing. I understand all that. I can dig it, baby. But that just goes in what I was saying with Magic and them, and Magic having a handler. That goes into how they set it up, and even how Crowley, had them set it up. Crowley always had them. He made sure, like, have them have handlers, and that handler is not stopped until today. You send someone out there, like, isn't Harding the baby's handler? Y'all saw that video with him too? Didn't he appear like a handler? But you can see handlers now of these stars. And you can see the handlers behind them, of the music business especially. Who did Rick Ross sign? And then he just looked like, fuck, I got to get another one. Remember that? Rick Ross signed a motherfucker and he looked like, damn, I got to put another motherfucker in this shit. So that's the name of the business. The price of fame is hell. And a lot of people want that hell. Let's be honest. A lot of people want that hell. Where what me and a lot of people watch me is trying to tell you is you save your energy because that's something they can't take away. They want this shit while they here. That shit ain't gonna pass on. That shit does not pass on, and they done sold their soul. So where do you think they're gonna go? Where do you think they're gonna go? Some call the shit the pit, but they just gonna be fed on. That's it. They're gonna be fed on. They eat the monsters that they sell their soul to. Eat that shit. They eat the souls. They eat the energy. So, but it's a lot of motherfuckers every day that's willing to sell their soul today. Whatever Lola wants, Lola gets. That seems the system. Niggas selling their soul for 360 deal. There you go. That's what Drake said. Drake tell you in his song that motherfuckers selling their soul. He tells you. He tells you in the song. It's just like who he was allowed to have a baby with. I mean, they did that shit for him to set that shit up. They like this is who we need to have this child through. And the way he dropped bodies around him, I wish the best for his child. But it's just that temporary thing. And Drake is the other thing is, the Jewish faith people being the greatest at everything. They got the superwoman. They're superwoman. They're going to make her Cleopatra. They're going to make her all the black history through the history since the 60s. Cleopatra, other than Elizabeth Taylor, has been looking at as a melanated person. But now they're going to bring, they're going to bring this Jewish faith person, this Wonder Woman, the super Jewish faith person to play Cleopatra. It's like an insult. It's like, remember a couple years ago, they had the Octonok and shit. And they had all these Europeans playing Octonagon and King Tut. Remember that shit? Can't be real. Can't be real, buddy. They didn't look like that, buddy. They're not Arabs. Those Arabs over there now. Arabs wasn't over there then. Arabs, remember they showed the Arab getting mad because Americans were saying, the people were melanated. And the Arabs over there getting mad. Like, Arab, you wasn't there either. You guys conquered those areas. Them ain't Arabs. Arabs didn't come till hundreds of years later. So, what you arguing about? You know that history. You Arabs ain't been here since that shit was there. You ain't saying you was up in Ethiopia. Because nobody would believe it. So, that's just the shit, What did Dr. Valentine said? The deeper you go, the darker the country gets, the darker the world gets. It's like the Black Plague. It got rid of most of the black people in Europe. I mean, people don't realize how devastating that shit was. There were just towns, and that shit wasn't no accident. Like, they didn't know it. It came from the spice trails of China and shit. Yeah, that shit was from a fucking wizard to get rid of them people. Because you see melanated people everywhere through history. Russia don't hide that shit. You go to Russia and look at some of their shit. They don't put the savior as a European. Wasn't no Europeans in that part of the world back then. So how did he end up looking like a Borgia? People really believe that shit. That's the problem. People die and they see the Borgia and they think the Borgia is there to help you. People die and see the Borgia and think that's the energy. It's no way the energy could have been that. The J didn't exist for one. But the energy could have never been that, the Borgia energy. HBO showed you, I know this isn't history, but HBO really showed you how cold-blooded these motherfuckers was. Because the original Borgia worked for Isabella. He was a bishop under Isabella. So when Isabella was putting out the Jewish faith folks in the Moors, fighting them, it wasn't like they put them, they reconquered these lands. That was traditionally her people's lands, is what they did. Sniffles. Pusha diss track Drake was funny as hell. I wonder if it was set up. Probably was set up to help them both. I love the fact that Wonder Woman, woman of freedom who fights for women and children in peace, would be played by a Jewish actor who is in the Israeli military intelligence. She was military intelligence. So why that She's Mossad. This chick is Mossad, and they got Super Mossad playing Wonder Woman. I saw the Borgias. My God, they were ruthless. But I'm just, I'm picking the Charles, whatever his name is. His name ain't even Charles. It's something. But he talks about the movies. But I mean, even if you study, and I'm saying some of that gives you insight how these motherfuckers was, and how that's his son, the Borgia. That's his son that he made the picture of who people think is Jesus, who Muhammad Ali's father painted, Cassius Sr. He painted that, and he said that puts steak and potatoes on the table. Me painting these white H Jesus. Yeah. White H Jesus. They don't like the H word, so I'm not going to say it, but it starts with an H and ends with a Y. So it's white, that Jesus. I heard that years ago, somebody calling it. There was a crackhead. They was like, white Jesus. This is pictures. This is a Borgia. And he was right. But that's what they called him, White H Jesus. But you read about them. If you read about them, they're more ruthless than HBO showed. If you read about them, they're a lot more ruthless people. But he did a good thing. His people, his picture lasts, his son's picture lasts forever. So that is no way you can believe that. But again, that's, saying that's the ultimate, that's brainwashing. That is reading into superiority, which is no real thing, because we're killing the word. The dying of whiteness is upon us. It's no way to get around that. So they ain't white. They're European. Remember that. There's only Europeans and there's American Indians, melanated people. It's really just this. It's Europeans and melanated people. Now, melanated people from different parts of the world, we got Europeans that are from Europe. Just because they come to America don't make them, not still Europeans. Because that's how they want to call us. They want to call us African that. Well, these are European that. Not from them individual countries. No, they're for you from Europe is one name over it. European American, okay? If you want to say it that. But they're Europeans. The dying of whiteness is already upon us. So you shouldn't even be saying that. You should be, because they hate being called that. But that is what the true name is Europeans. And no disrespect if any Europeans are watching. It's no disrespect to you. But I'm saying that you can't carry white anymore. That's disrespectful to the world. White is disrespectful to the world. So that ain't even in our thinking anymore. We put you where you're supposed to be, you European people. And the majority of us didn't come from anywhere. Let's make that clear as well. We didn't come from anywhere. You didn't bring us here. Majority of people was already here. Majority, especially melanated people, were already here. Melanated people ran from the islands all the way up to Alaska. It was all melanated people. And that can't be denied. Look up some Eskimos in the 1920s and teens. Tell me what they look like. They don't look like that shit. The last Alaskans, they don't look like that. They all darker than me. So this whole hemisphere was nothing but melanated people. And that can't be denied. Even you get into even Vikings. Vikings ain't a people. Vikings is a culture. That's another way they lie. To try to make you think all the Vikings is blonde hair, blue-eyed people. That's a lie too. The Vikings is a culture. Wasn't just a people. Saw the Chuck Barris from the Hong Kong show. You mean the Gong show. He was a hitman for the CIA. Do you believe some actors? I don't know about his story. Was kind of wacky. Not to say it was impossible, but I read some articles about dudes that was around him and was like, yeah, that doesn't appear. It doesn't appear like it appears like he made that shit up. He wasn't very deep. He wasn't a deep dude, and he was a cokehead. I mean, you watch his show. If you want to see a cokehead on TV, watch him. Watch Robin Williams, any of his early comic performances. You can just tell he's coked out of his mind. But to give Robin Williams his props, he tells coked out of his mind jokes like this. Give him his props. He's just cracking coke jokes. So he could match the energy of the drug with his comedy. Not very many people was like that. Hopped up on coke, but yet your comedy is coke jokes. And you putting in coke energies and skits. Yeah, he was great at that. Hey, when you're exactly right about Indigenous past. Oh, absolutely. I mean, again, that's you get into the Black Death. That's who they killed. I mean, towns by the millions. It wasn't an accident. This was a small group of people that put this shit in motion and killed millions. I mean, they did the shit pox here. I've got to do my research because my book, The Other American, tells you the name of this motherfucker they got in Cuba. They pick up this dude in Cuba with the pox, and they bring him because Columbus and them already saw how they was acting with the pox. They try to tell you they got syphilis from here. These motherfuckers been fucking animals. We know syphilis, gonorrhea, all that shit comes from fucking animals. So they try to say they got it from native women. Motherfuckers, y'all been fucking them animals. That's how y'all got that shit. That's how y'all spread that shit, from fucking animals. But they saw, Columbus and them saw with the pox. So when Cortez came, they got this dude, and I have to get my book out because the other slavery tells this motherfucker's name, and they brought him to America, and he was exposed to early settlers. But after he died, they cut this motherfucker up, and they were still doing the same things with him, putting his shit new water sources, putting his parts of his body around food, and they wiped a lot of people out like that. They killed a lot of people. That's why when you get into them saying Aztecs sacrificed people, how can you believe a murderer telling a story? How can you believe a murderer telling the story? These been the most murderous motherfuckers on the planet of Earth. How do you, I'm not trying to sound racist, but I'm just stating facts. They killed thousands upon thousands of people sick with disease. And then they go around and show the motion, signal. We see is motion. And they telling you that if you believe in this, everybody will stop being sick. Of course, they knew how to clean up from that shit. You bring it and get the people sick, and then you tell the people, see, your gods ain't helping you. But the first thing they do is get all the gods, they get all the sigils, they get all the books. They take the obsidian mirrors. They take all the skulls, the original skulls. They take all the crystal balls. Because this shit wasn't used over there. I know a lot of you witches that's watching might think, but they did not use that shit. That was American shit. Obsidian mirrors wasn't used by any Europeans, especially the use of them. Same with crystal balls. Same with the original crystal skulls that they claim is in the British Museum, that they still can't tell you how the fuck they made. They're so precise. And they found all these in the Americas. Gypsies, they didn't find that shit over in Europe. They found all 12 or 13 skulls in America. And they used that shit. That was, to me, the first way to do a time crystal. You put all the skulls around each other. And then you get in the middle of that shit. That is how you would move as a time crystal. But that was how the time crystal, my original thoughts of how the time crystals was achieved, was when you put all them skulls together, the energy in the middle, you could get a kind of time crystal that's the repeating through space-time. It's a civilization kind of builder because it'll keep repeating over and over again. And after it repeats, it lives civilizations. A lot like triangular numbers. How it just, you see the patterns just keep repeating. But it never needs energy. It's better than the me or the mine. Because once you get a time crystal going, it's going to keep going, creating. 90% of the Native Americans wiped out in the 14th, 15th century. It caused a mini ice age. Syphilis came from England in the 11th century. There you go. No conquistadors brought diseases to the New World and wiped out the native people. Syphilis came from England in the 11th. Maybe 95 might be high, but what he's saying is how it caused the ice age. They killed so many people in South America that a cycle of working with shock all these centuries, all of a sudden these things weren't tilled, these fields weren't tilled. So it did a balance in the system in the Americas. Yeah, and it caused a mini ice age. Matter of fact, the ice age hit again. It hit in the 15th century, but it hit again in the 18th century. It hit again. They got punished again for that. That's, to me, these wizards, that's what appears happened. is these wizards that work with the me or the mind were apparently frozen. It seems like they fear freezing more than anything, in my opinion. They may tell you that hell is hot, but they fear freezing. They fear that shit. And so that's why it gives me the opinion these motherfuckers was frozen. So was the machine. So was the machine. Because again, who other than Europeans wanted to mass kill people? And you can look at military tactics. Remember Shaka Zulu? When they fought each other, they didn't kill each other. They just threw spears at each other. War wasn't always about killing. Here in Americas, we played the continuous ball game to settle, hunting, fishing, all that kind of thing. It wasn't about just killing all our people. Remember, Shaka Zulu's my best example. And then all of a sudden, Shaka's killing his fellow man. Wasn't about mass murder. Now, what do they tell you in English history? They try to murder motherfuckers. They go to war and want better and better ways to kill more motherfuckers. And the first way was cannons. Cannons was before guns. So Columbus and them had cannons. They didn't really have a lot of guns. Cortez only had like 30 horses and 15 guns. Doesn't say how many cannons, but they had cannons too. But still, the amount of people, it makes no sense. That history makes no sense that this European with 500 people, that they all get killed. Montezuma's brother killed all of them but 35. And he's able to recover and go get another boat. How did they sleep? How did they sleep? You tell me, how did these motherfuckers sleep without being attacked? I don't care if you got cannons and 15 guns. You got 500 men. Let's give them 1,000. The other boat that they sank so motherfuckers wouldn't leave, let's give them 800 men. I got 30,000 men. I can attack you 24 hours nonstop. Do you see my point? Somewhere it's a lie. Somewhere that's an illusion. There's no way that's a believable story. The Spanish did bring diseases, but the majority of natives were already wiped out. Yeah. A lot of them, they spread a lot of diseases too. They spread a lot of diseases. And a lot of people did flee up to the north. A lot of people left out of the Americas as they came. A lot of people started going into the north. You see that. But that's the lie about history. It makes no sense that these people, after you kill all of them but 35, and they killed almost 8,000. Because we know they killed, when they went into Montezuma, they captured him, they murdered like 5,000 elites. Again, unarmed people with swords. So they was able to just bloody butcher a lot of people. These Spaniards, these Europeans, and they want to say, well, that was them. They still trying to use the same divisionist. I thought the weather was an intentional strategy to suit the environment they were comfortable with. That's a good point. That's like now. Who do you think wants to live right now? Who wants to live in this bad water? Who wants to live in eat this GMO food? Who benefits from that? It's beings that love this shit. We know they had electric cars around the turn of the century. Benz made one. Ford made an electric car. But like I tell you, it's the troll under the road. There's beings that love this stuff and this pollution. So for so long, they adapted to our world. They have made the shit so fucked up, we adapted to theirs. They want this pollution. They want these oceans fucked up. They want these water sources fucked up. There's beings that like this shit, that love the smog and the pollution. That ain't for us, because that's killing us. And again, my research showed they killed all the land in the 70s. I know there's so much land everywhere, but from my research, the land was all killed in the 70s. And they invented this GMO shit so it'd grow in these dead lands. Put all this artificial shit in it and still make the shit grow. But there's some reports that every inch of land on Earth was fucked up already. They fucked it up in the last 40, 50 years. To the point where they paint natives that turn into stories. They paint narratives that turn into stories. Yeah, absolutely, PJ. They do. And, it just doesn't make sense. Now, this is the only agreement I'll give about the mud flood people and saying this shit ain't as old. It doesn't appear so. I'll agree with that. That shit with Cortez makes no sense. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for the pilgrim shit, you know. And even though all the stories are they wipe people out, which they did a lot, they came on the East Coast and wiped a lot of people out. But it's again, why weren't they constantly attacked 24 hours nonstop? You'd have thought after 20 years of this shit, somebody would say, we just got to fight these motherfuckers all day, all night. I mean, wouldn't that seem like it? These people are just infringing. But no one said until you get into Pontiac's war, when they taken over forts, no one said, you know, you have Pontiac Tecumseh finally wanting to fight these motherfuckers. But by then it was too late. Again, Pontiac was under the delusion that the French was going to come back and help him. He didn't realize that the French had lost to these motherfuckers, was never coming back. French helped a little bit in the Civil War. French, well, shit, the Civil War was nothing but European generals. I've gotten into that many times. That's my thing. Falling from the sky. They say plastic is in the rainwater. There you go, Dread. So that part of the mud flood, I get, because a lot of these European stories just don't fly. It just doesn't make sense. It's just no way it could happen the way they say it. It's just no way. It's no way. Even with the pilgrims and all that, why didn't you would just think somebody would be so pissed off any European they saw, they would fight them automatically. I mean, really, if you looked at it, they have disrespected the people so bad that you would think it was one point of history within the first 50 years of North America that people would say, we need to just fight these motherfuckers all the time with no delay. Tell every tribe, you see these motherfuckers, fight their ass. Fuck their pans, fuck their trinkets, fight their ass. I mean, you would see that. It would had to been some point where there's like, yeah, these motherfuckers there, we got to go get them. That had to have happened. That had to have happened. But I'm saying that's a rational way to look at it. That's rational how people would look at it. And we see that's never told. I mean, the Civil War makes no sense. You've got Jewish faith people wiping out Puritans on a massive level. On a massive level. You have almost 100 generals that came from Europe. And I know people say, well, Jewish faith people fought in the South. Yeah, but what did they do when they was in the South? That'd be my next question. And did they have ties to the North still too? So no matter who won or who lost, they didn't lose, huh? That slavery shit is all bullshit. It's all bullshit. That slavery shit, Civil Wars, that shit ain't none of that shit real. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like Mandingo, all that stupid shit. Damn, man. Well, your mama been for an hour. Worry about me. Your mama sleep with that mask on her face. Don't eat that shit. Eat the hamburger. It's a hamburger from last night. Is that a hamburger? Yeah. All right, then that's good.
Man, it still looks dry as hell.
Well, just put it in there for a little while to get it hot. Oh, maybe you should have ate it 2 days ago.
I thought it was from yesterday.
I cooked it 2 days ago.
Why did you say yesterday?
I tried to cook it Friday. It's Monday morning, asshole. It's Monday morning. Well, I'm going to cut it off. 2.5 hours is probably enough for this old pimp. Tariq, thank you for joining me. Dread, thank you. Everybody, thank you for joining me and showing your knowing. And that's the thing. Don't believe in shit. No. Don't believe in shit. No. Don't have any beliefs. Only know. That's right. Only know. That's the key to getting through some of this shit. No.
You know Wilma?
No, stop. He wants his 3 minutes of fame.
Dude, bro. I just wanted to...
Nobody wants to hear your colored jokes.
I heard your ass
Nobody wants to hear your color jokes.
It's 3 o'clock. I've been waiting so long to come here and eat.
Yeah, well, you're gonna have to wait longer.
I'm not waiting longer. That's why I'm out.
Yeah, I told you, get that lightning cream. You're not using it enough. I've got a whole gallon in there. Just jump in all of it. Don't use them. I ain't like them. I like the other ones better. I like the other ones better. They was kind of mushy. I ain't like them buttons. Okay, that's on you. But tomorrow, given time, I'm going to do a sports show like I usually do most Monday afternoons. I will not be here. He's making faces at me. I will not be here tomorrow night, or like I won't be here Tuesday morning or Wednesday morning. I'll come back Thursday morning, but I should do a show early tomorrow during the day. So a clue to the missing time, the conjunction that occurred in December between Saturn and Venus. The last conjunction occurred in the 14th century. Real significant wasn't Christ. Wow, thank you for sharing that. I'll look into that. That is really cool. And Moray, maybe tomorrow I'll give you your information because I did not forget about you. And I think I finished a lot of your reading, and I'm gonna start doing readings too. So I'll let you know. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Drew, for coming in. I appreciate it. So again, this is the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am your host, Adrian is Timeless. I always finished with Eshawn's poem, so I will finish here. I'm not a New York rapper or LA gangbanger. I'm just an old school Detroit crack slinger. This has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. Thank you, everyone. Look for me tomorrow afternoon. Hopefully, if time permits, I will be able to do an afternoon show. But thank you again. Till we meet again. Thank you, Jay. Till we meet again.